Reminder, get your questions ready because we're not holding back tonight. And for those of you who are new to the channel, or if you're just tuning in, I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television. But most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. Welcome, gentlemen. I'm going to do a check. How are you guys doing tonight? Welcome.
Doing good. Yourself?
I can't complain. I got my wine on hand. Cheers. Salud.
Hey, nice. Salud.
All right. Salud. So if you guys don't mind, I just want to kind of go through the roster. You know, that's been a very, very controversial word, roster in these YouTube streets. Trill know, you know what I'm talking about. But I'm going to go through the roster and let you guys introduce yourselves. And I'll start with you, Tony.
All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Tony Massey. I'm a amateur chef, a speaker, a writer, a poet. I've actually written 3 books on relationships that have been published. They can be found on Amazon.com. You can find me everywhere: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, at Tony Massey Cooks. I'm really excited to be here. Can't wait to get into this conversation.
All right. Well, thank you. Calvin, tell the ladies who you are. Tell the audience who you are.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Calvin Garvey. A brief description about me. What's up, Samson? I was born in Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica. Left Jamaica, moved to New York, Jamaica, Queens, and then moved to Florida about 4 years ago. 46 years old. No kids. I have a degree in psychology and human development. I work in the legal field, aviation. I had a brief stint on Ready to Love Miami, season 6. Really brief. And coming really soon is I have a forum coming out called King's Talk at the King's Table.
All right, we'll take it. Well, thank you. And the man himself, the dude that gave me an opportunity when I was just roaming these YouTube streets. I was like, I had no movement, no energy behind me. And this guy took a chance on me. And ever since then, I've been featured on I've been a guest on his channel every Wednesday night. The cruise season, over 100,000 subscribers. Let me back up. Introduce yourself.
First off, man, it's a pleasure to have you on there for sure. I'm Trill AC, member of the Cruise Season podcast. You know, we host a relationship podcast that drops every Tuesday, all streaming platforms. You know, we on YouTube and TikTok and Instagram and wherever. You just type it in, Google Cruise Season, and we're going to pop up. Looking forward to the combo tonight, man. So, salute to the fellas, and Queen, you already know it's love, man.
All right. Jeffrey, introduce yourself, please.
Good deal. My name is Jeffrey Miller. I am a relationship coach. I specialize in helping men become better daters, husbands, fathers, lovers, and partners. I've done radio as well, and I was on season 1 of on Bravo. Looking forward to the conversation. Have your popcorn ready because we do not play.
We'll take it. We'll take it, King. Let's see. I'm going to pass the mic to Garwin. Garwin, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Garwin Figgins. Actually born in Conroe, Texas, if anyone knows where that's at, but raised in Houston. I'm in HR, actually. Work for Walt Disney, the big Disney company. In Houston, but 100% remote. So that's about it. Looking forward to hearing what's going on, and looking forward to answering some of these questions and giving hopefully some good advice.
Right. Thank you, King.
All right, so
I gotta pass the mic to Al. I met Al many, many years ago, but Al, I will let you introduce yourself, King. Take the floor.
Well, hello, I'm Alton Hawkins. Entrepreneur. I run my business through many other businesses doing logistics. I'm the old school round away. no BS men that haven't been like the mold's been broken. They don't even make those molds anymore. So like all the stuff you're seeing and going on now, it's self-explanatory. You'll see in the show.
Warning.
Hey, you said it.
In progress.
Warning, evacuation in progress. I'll pass the mic to Samson.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen, Queen. Nice to finally meet you and see you. My name is Samson Daryuvala, born and raised in Houston, Texas. Graduate of Morehouse in Atlanta. Dual degree program, psychology and Spanish. Father and mother, an uncle to 11 nephews and nieces. Emergency manager, currently here in Tampa supporting Hurricane Ian survivors. And of recent, the last 2 years, semi-retired. Love giving back, so I'm still within the government, but kind of focusing more on mentoring and life coaching. Thank you for having me.
All right. No, thank you for coming. Last but not least, we got LJ in the building. LJ.
Hey, what's
floor is
going
yours.
on? Good evening to all the brothers on the call. Good evening to you, Queen. Yeah, my name is LJ, born and raised in the Virgin Islands, island boy. I work in IT, but I'm also a musician. I live here in Miami, and like Calvin and Samson here on the call, you might have seen me on Ready to Love season 6 Miami. So pleasure to speak with you guys today, and I'm looking forward to all the questions.
Because they're going to come through, so I hope you mean that. All right, so you know me, I'm going to go ahead and get this party started. And I think I'm going to take the first swing. Gentlemen, if you could rank these in a list of importance, what's important to you in a relationship? Looks, intelligence, sexual chemistry, cooking. I want you to rank them. There was 4. Looks, intelligence, which one you choosing first to last? Looks, intelligence, sexual chemistry, cooking skills. I'm going to throw the mic back to LJ.
All right, you want to put me first. All right. Intelligence is number 1 for me. I mean, I'm a mentally strong person. I consider myself a smart, wise person. I need a woman with a good head on her shoulders. So I'm going with that for number 1. She got to look good, secondly. I think, attraction is the first thing that you see, or physical is the first thing that you see before you kind of dive into getting to know a woman. But I'll put that second. Sexual chemistry. I'm big on energy. I need to have that. I want to feel like I need to rip your clothes off all the time I'm around. So that's important. Cooking, I'm an island boy. I like a good home cooked meal, but I'll put that last, But yeah, that's how I rank them.
So sexual chemistry ranked 3rd. Tony, tell us what you're looking for.
I would say intelligence would absolutely be first, because after the sex is over, we have to talk. So I would say intelligence. I would put sexual chemistry before looks, just because I just feel like looks are subjective, and they don't last. And then last would be cooking for me, just because I cook, so I don't really need anybody to cook for me. It's nice, but it's not a necessity. So that would be my list.
All right. Samson, the floor is yours.
I'm not going to lie, it looks first. All the other things matter. But if I'm not attracted, then I'm really not trying to get to know. You're talking about a woman, a potential love interest, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
First. So it's basically in your order. Looks, intelligence, sexual chemistry, and then cooking.
Okay. I'm kind of shocked, but I'm gonna hold my voice until the end. Let's pass the mic to Calvin.
I would definitely say intelligence. I am stimulated by mental stimulation. So that is super important to me. Someone I can have a conversation with and be able to grow with. Looks, definitely looks, really more style and how you carry yourself. How it's important for you to care about your looks and care about, how you carry yourself. Sexual energy, yes, definitely the sexual energy. I need that. Similar to what LJ said, I need to be able to see you and be like, you can get it all day, every day. Cook, we can always order out. Words come to words. There's Uber. you know.
All right. Alton.
So the question is this meeting on first meeting or actually dating? Like being with
However
someone?
you behave in them streets behind closed doors.
So it would have to be looks, intelligence, sexual chemistry, and then cooking. Because, like, I mean, what man don't know how to cook? So it just gets that simple.
Trill.
Queen, I think you had it in a great order. Looks is one, because without looks, I'll never know the rest of the list that you named. That's just honest. If you are not attractive to the eye, we will not go any further. You'll make a great home girl, buddy. How? But anything past that, it just ain't happening. So looks right out the gate. Intelligence, because I'm a sapiosexual. So if we get to swimming in deep waters and you start drowning, that's gonna turn me off. Sex I think can be coached as long as the urge, willingness to learn is there. Then we can kind of mold you. You know what I'm saying? You could be coachable, so we can kind of get you there. Same with cooking, but without that first one, we'll never know the rest.
Okay. And you know what? I appreciate the truth. Garwin, what you standing on? How you ranking?
I'm going with looks first, especially the natural look. Wake up in the morning, look the same as you did when we went to bed at night. After that comes a sexual, most definitely, because wake up in the morning, you look good, we sexual. 3 is intelligence, and the last is cooking, because I can cook. So I just need a Sunday meal. That's all I need. So I don't need you to be too fancy, just Sunday meal and I'm good.
What you need on the menu for Sunday?
Anything.
Okay, because you might get Chick-fil-A and they close on Sundays. So I'm just saying. All right. Last but not least, Jeffrey, bring it home.
It's of course to have the physical attraction. But we have to be able to have stimulating conversation. First on my sexual chemistry, because quite frankly, you have to bring it. And first on my know how to, because we're gonna have a battle in the kitchen. Who can cook the best? That's how it's gonna go. Frankly, there's no ranking. All of those are equally important. For all first, deserve it. I'm not settling. You better bring it, women. You better bring it. We not settling either.
Listen, I am shocked because, when we see Instagram, you got the Instagram models, you got more and more women taking off their clothes, getting their surgeries. Most women are leading with their bodies. And I'm shocked that women are leading with the bodies and you're ranking sex as third. So that's a huge disconnect between what women believe you want and what's actually important to you. Why do you think that is, fellas? Whoever wants to take that one.
I mean, sex you could get anywhere, any and everywhere. Like you said, it's all over the internet, right? So I think just as humans, naturally, we gravitate to what's scarce, right? Or you want what you can't have type stuff. But outside of that, man, women are everywhere. There's more women on the earth than men, right? So sex is everywhere. So, intelligence is definitely important because after the sex, what else is there to offer, right? You're just gonna just bounce around in sex, right? If a woman doesn't have anything else other than sex to offer, then I'm good on that. Me personally.
Okay. Anybody else want to challenge that or take that one?
I think the confusion lies in like women spending more time trying to tell men what we want instead of listening to what we say we want. I think that's where the issue lies, because they'll sit there and tell you, Well, hey, y'all get these type of women attention on social media all the time. Y'all liking these pictures, the girls with the big asses and, big breasts and things of that nature. So it's like, I feel like that's just what you wanted. Right? But like I tell women all the time, you got to watch the movie until the credits roll.
Ooh.
Do those men end up marrying those type of women? No. Out of all of those women that we know, we can run down like the top list of like the baddest chicks that we see on Instagram. 95% of them are single. So again, you got to watch the movie till the credits roll. Don't just watch it to the high point and then run out the theater. And that's what I feel like a lot of them do. When you listen to men, we're gonna tell you what it is that we want, and what we want, meaning what we'll settle down with, because those are two different things. We may smash something, but in terms of what we want, that's what we're willing to settle down with, and it's not that type of woman if they paying attention.
Keyword is attention. Go ahead, Samson.
Yeah, I just think the woman that you're interested in is beautiful. She captivates you physically. And the intelligence, that stimulation is there mentally, then the sex is going to be other way around. It can be bomb, but if the intelligence is there, it's not going to last. It's just an experiment, short-lived.
Anybody else want to add anything? Go ahead, Tony.
We're so inundated with these images of sexuality from women. It's just such, there's so much of it out there. I think on some level, it almost becomes so plentiful that we want something different. And so the idea is I want a woman who is going to, be able to entice me with her clothes on without doing all of that other stuff. And the other thing is, I'll be honest, I don't want to have to try to convince you to change all of that once I have you. I mean, I may be one of the people that hit the like, but Trill said, I'm not wifing you because, respectfully, you've literally put everything out there. So there's nothing that's mine. There's nothing that's inherently mine. But if I have a conversation with you and I can connect with you on a level that no other man can, you listen to me and we can speak, in the midnight hour and share thoughts and dreams and ideas, then that intimacy can't be, put on Instagram. It can't be shared, for other men to be able to enjoy. And I think I won't speak for all men, but for me, I'm very possessive, not to the point where you can't have anyone but me, but this is mine. And I don't want people accessing that which is mine.
So what does that mean? Because there's a lot of people tuned in. That means something different to everybody. When you say I'm possessive.
I mean, I don't. So let me qualify that statement.
Not in a bad way. But
I'm not possessive in that my wife is not allowed to have friends and all that other stuff.
Yeah.
Meaning that, I'm very protective of what's mine. So if I put a label on you, especially if I put a possessive pronoun on you, then that means that you're my responsibility. I'm accountable for you. But that also means that, I'm accountable to you. So my wife, my children, my house, my car, I'm not lending you anything. You know what I mean? This is mine. And I don't want anyone, I want to limit the access that other people have to the things that I feel is inherently under my care or under my responsibility. So when I say possessive, I don't mean controlling. I just mean that, I've put the possessive pronoun on this person, which means that the access for other people needs to be limited, at least not to the extent that I have access. So that's what I mean by that.
Oh, thank you. That's awesome. I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna take it a different way, because a lot of women, there's been, sometimes women don't understand. Why not me? I look good. I cooks. I cleans. I'm educated. I got degrees. I got my own house. I got my own car. I pay my own bills. All of that. Alton, what's a deal breaker for you?
Ooh. I'll deal with a little toxicity.
Makes you a great responsible.
Just a little bit, but a deal breaker, not listening. That is like, at some point in time, I'm a type of person, when we get into disagreements, I'll sit back and I can quote everything you say to me verbatim. And I'm gonna try to find the thing with men, we're problem solvers. So I'm gonna try to find a solution so we don't have to go through this again. But if we keep going through the same problems over and over and over again, that's a problem for me.
Okay.
So I believe society and the media has basically given women where there's no responsibility. Like they can say and do anything with no repercussions. So this is where we as men have problems, because now you have vulgar language and everything. Sometimes you even have physical abuse. And if a man says something about that, he's looked down on, he's frowned upon. Even in the disagreement, if he says something and it's either too loud or something, but he's speaking his piece to try to calm the situation, you're called out your name, or you're a punk or something of that nature. There has to be a line of communication where it's peace. That's all a man really wants, is peace.
I felt that. I felt that. Garwin, what's a deal breaker?
I would have to say someone who doesn't compromise. I mean, in my book, I think that's huge, because it takes two, and if one's not willing to compromise, it won't work. No matter what the physical attractiveness is, no matter how intelligent she is, or if she can throw down in the kitchen, if it's not compromise, it won't work.
Okay.
And it has to come both ways, from a man and a woman. It has to be that way.
Do you think women are more reluctant to compromise? Based on your experience?
Based on my experience, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, based on my experience, I do.
Jeffrey, I'm going to hand the mic to you, my friend. What's a deal breaker? And Jeffrey, I think you may have a slight delay. I can come back to you. Okay, gotcha.
This is what I mean. I mean, it's late. That's not worth an argument.
Jeffrey, your audio's cutting out.
I'm gonna try cell phone. My laptop is giving.
No, you're fine. I'll come back to you. Trill, what's your deal breaker?
Lack of attentiveness. I think how much attention are you paying to things about me that you don't benefit from? I think that'll tell me a lot in terms of what I need to know about you. A lot of women are selfish in relationships, from the courting stage all the way into the relationship stage. Like, a lot of men are programmed to believe that, hey, your job is pleasing the woman, like so much so to where we don't get what we need in return. And not only that, but we feel weird asking for it. You know what I'm saying? So when you have a woman who's willing to, swim move that terrible tutelage that most women get, and actually pay her man some attention in terms of the small things that he's actually interested in that she may not be, that's the woman you marry. But if I run into a woman who's not willing to do that, doesn't matter how good she looks, doesn't matter how good the sex is, we will never be anything serious. So lack of attentiveness.
So there are a lot of women that did not grow up with a role model, male and female, to even know what that means, right? They think they know. If you were to just hand out at gym tonight a little bit of wisdom to anybody in the audience, when you say attention, what does that mean to you as a man?
Meaning, again, like just doing things for your man just cause, like paying attention to the small things that he's interested in. Like if you ask most women, like, hey, what's your man's birthstone?
Ooh.
They'll probably stumble to answer that. Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying? But little things like what's your man's favorite book? What's his favorite, if you had to buy him his dream car, what would it be? That type of thing. Like the small things that, again, she doesn't benefit from. Now, she may be able to tell you what his dream job is, sure, but she's going to benefit from the money. She may be able to tell you what kind of house you want, sure, because she's going to be benefiting from living in the big-ass house. But if you get down to the finite details, what's his favorite juice? What's his favorite, like the small things that she's paying attention to, and that way she can be selfless and do things for her man just cause, the same way men are kind of forced to do. That's what I mean by it. Like paying close attention to your man, not just to the things about him that you like or you benefit from. When you master that, you'll have a man that's willing to run through a brick wall for you. But if
Oh
you
wow.
don't, if you don't, you'll have a man that's silently building up resentment, and that's going to be more likely to go out there and cheat with a woman who is willing to pay attention to the finite details. So learn that as
Gonna come
fast as
back to that
possible.
G word. Trill, you just lit a flame. We're gonna come back to that. The lioness says she gonna put his socks on when he falls asleep because he loves his feet warm. All right, I'm gonna toss the mic to you. You know what? Let me go down. Let me go to Jeffrey. I mean, not Jeffrey. I'm sorry, Calvin.
I would probably have to say negativity. I don't like a woman that's too negative. While I'm pouring into you, I don't need your cup to be empty where it keeps pouring out. And you can't ask me to love something that you don't love. So I need you to have, and even when I'm down, or I need you to pour into me, or I need to plug into you, I need to be able to know that I can come to you and you will give me something that's going to uplift me. But if you're always negative, or if you're always finding something that's wrong with something, then for me, it's just not attractive.
Okay. Do you feel like most women are negative Nancy's?
Not really. What I find out is that, for me personally, when you go through bad relationships, a lot of times you kind of bring that into the next relationship. So you know how it is. Hurt people hurt people. So sometimes it's your experience on what you go through. But, not everyone, but there is quite a few.
Samson, did I cover you? Deal breaker.
I got several, but I'll just mention two. Woman that curses a lot or all the time. Definitely a deal breaker for me. Circle that I roll in. We don't communicate like on the court with the fellas, on the shooting and shit. You all, a different story. I definitely want a woman with a clean tongue. But I think the deal breaker for this conversation would be the inability to read the room and express yourself in a way that the message gets across properly, in a way that it can be received. Kind of Calvin was speaking. If you're negative, sometimes that delivery is the same way. So read and adjust that way they can receive in a way and thoughtful. You're going to create a more positive environment.
Okay. That's fair. LJ, deal breaker. What you not dealing with? What you not putting up with?
Yeah, a woman who isn't ambitious or who doesn't want more out of life. I feel like I'm an ambitious person. I'm gonna go and get what I want to achieve. And if I'm to have a woman by my side, I need her to have that same energy as well, because you need motivation. I'm gonna motivate you. We're gonna motivate each other. We're on the same page. We could accomplish anything. But if you just want to sit home and watch TV all day and not do anything better about your life, then I can't rock with that at all.
What you want her doing? So when she's not,
Whatever her dreams are, whatever she's passionate about. I don't care what it is. I mean, have that passion, go and get it. I'll help you achieve that. We can work together. We come up with a plan together. Whatever you're passionate about in life, whatever you want to achieve in life, something, not just sitting down and kind of, expecting everything, or sitting down and have no dreams or anything like that. It's a turn off for me.
okay.
Hey, real quick, somebody running YouTube in the background. If y'all got YouTube going in the background, mute it. Because if y'all don't,
Yeah.
it's gonna cause an echo on the mics. Go ahead, Queen.
So you want to adjust the volume. If you're watching it, you want to turn the volume down. There you go. All right. Tony, what's your deal breaker?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. There's two things. One, the excessive use of the word I. When a woman gives me her resume, but she hasn't read the job description, that just irritates me. So I really don't want to hear about I do this and I do that. Have you inquired what I want? Because I think a lot of times we do things for people out of a desire to please ourselves and not the other person. And the other thing is a woman who weaponizes my vulnerability. If I tell you something, if I show vulnerability to you and then you bring that up in an argument or you weaponize it in a disagreement, that's a deal breaker for me because you're not a safe space. One of the brothers said, peace, at 46, peace is the only key that really matters to me at this point in my life. I can't deal with a house that is not peaceful. So don't tell me what you bring to the table. Ask me what I need, and then the other thing is just don't weaponize my vulnerability.
You know what? I've been guilty of that. Guys, go ahead and mute up if you're not talking, just to cancel out the echo. So if you're not, go ahead and mute up because we got an echo coming from somebody. So I've been guilty of that. I've weaponized things that my husband has shared with me. And that was a hard L that I had to take. And when he explained to me what I was doing, I made sure to not repeat that again. You know what I'm saying? It's okay to make a mistake. Just don't make it twice. So that's
yeah. And when you think about it, there's only one person that you use a weapon against, and that's an enemy, right? We're not supposed to be enemies. We're supposed to be friends. We're supposed to be collaborators. We're not supposed to be in competition. So if you're throwing darts at me with the intention to hurt me, because that's the thing, you're the only person who has access to information that could truly destroy me. And so you have to be very careful with that. It's enticing, it's enticing to go after that person, especially when you're angry, especially when you're upset, or you feel like you've been wrong, or you feel like you're not being heard. But you have to fight that urge because at the end of the day, you're trying to be that weapon formed against me, and you shouldn't be,
So it can work both ways, right? Both men and women can do this. Okay. Jeffrey, we're going to go back to you, my friend. What's a deal breaker? You're not dealing with it. You're not entertaining it when it comes to a woman, dating, whatever. You're just not doing it.
All right. Is my audio better now? All right, wonderful. I'm not dealing with a woman with an uncontrollable mouth. This is what I mean. Everything is not worth an argument. You have to know when and where to push a man or to pour into a man. If you haven't mastered the power of your tongue, you have no business even speaking to me because I'm going to run you off. I'm not dealing with a woman with an uncontrollable mouth. It's better, according to the Bible now, I'm getting a little biblical, but it's better to live on a corner of a rooftop than to dwell in a house with a quarrelsome woman. We know you're intelligent. We know you're well-spoken. That's good on the job, but that doesn't qualify you and make you a good mate. Because unfortunately, sometimes some women just want to be heard, but they definitely don't want to listen to understand us. That's it for me.
Hey, that's enough for me to roll it back. Hold on. So when you say uncontrollable mouth, are you talking curse words? Are you just being argumentative or what?
No, see, a woman has a power to do a couple of things in a relationship. She can push a man, she can poison a man, or she can pour into a man. And it's all with how she speaks to him. We can have a disagreement and not be disagreeable. You can have a desired outcome and not be nagging about it. Please understand, when you pour into us, we will run through a wall for you. We'll make a way where there is no way for our woman. But when you push us, you might be pushing us off our gift. And when you push us off our gift or our path, then we just come home and sit on the couch because now you killed our happiness. And when you poison us, we don't want anything to do with you. That's when the cleanup woman comes around with that antidote. I ain't gonna tell you what the antidote is, but you don't have it anymore because you poisoned us. So ladies, I'll caution you. Quit thinking you're the smartest thing ever to walk the earth and learn how to understand what your man is saying to you. Because we tell you what I want. We tell you what we need. Most times, ladies, y'all don't listen.
Ooh. And Miss Parker said, I mean, you just checked her because she was talking back to the screen while you were talking. So I think that hit home in several ways. Guys, I want to ask you a question. We're about to get deep. We may piss some people off. Keep it real. Racial preference. What you going for first? Tony.
So I think I'm uniquely qualified to answer this question because I've been married twice. I've been married more than once, and my first wife, I did marry outside of my race. And although she's an amazing woman, there is a unique quality that I enjoy being married to a Black woman, especially at this stage of my life, because dealing in the social climate that we are in now, it is very difficult to try to explain your plight to someone. It's very hard to, James Baldwin said, if you're, and I'm paraphrasing, if you're just remotely aware of what's going on, it just keeps you in a constant state of rage. And he's right. And to be able to try to explain that to someone who is not uniquely equipped mentally or socially or even spiritually to understand your plight, it's very hard. I would love to be the type of man that says, that it doesn't matter. And the reality is that all women are created equal. It's this idea that white women do this and Black women do this. You piss a woman off and their color does not matter anymore. What matters is their ability to understand your plight, their ability to empathize with you without you having to explain why you feel the way you feel. And that's one thing that I've experienced with Black women, not just in my dating life, but just in my friendships. And then there's a protective nature that I think Black women have that goes all the way back to slavery. And I think as Black men, we have to be very conscientious of that and not to tear that, because that has really served us for a very long time, because there are just certain circles that Black women especially can move in that we just can't. And you get the right one in your corner, she can provide you access because she is so disrespected. She is so, undervalued that they allow her into spaces just because they're not afraid, that she's not seen as a threat. And if she can pull you into those places, we become the benefactor. But we have to remember, that again, these are people who have our best interests at heart for the most part. And I'm not saying that to be an inclusive statement, because not everyone, Black women are not a monolith. So I know it's a very long answer to a very short question, but my preference now is definitely to be around my people. And that's no disrespect to my ex. She's a great woman, but I feel more authentically me having a Black woman on my arm. And I'll land there.
Hold on, Queen, you muted.
Thank you. Good looking out, Trill. Calvin, who you choosing? Keep it real. We don't want no interview response, behavioral psychological response. We want the real. Who you choosing? Racial preference.
Tony said it best. I was raised by a Black woman, and I watched the struggle. I watched my moms go through it. So for me, I am so connected to that. I've dated outside my race. I've dated a lot of different types of women, different races, different cultures. But what I'm connected to is a Black woman. It's like playing Taboo. When you play that game Taboo, when you're playing that game and you're playing with somebody that knows you, all you have to do is say one word and they'll get it. But when you play Taboo with somebody that don't know, you're sitting there like, what can I tell you? How are you going to get this? And by the time you finish, the sand ran out and you're trying to figure it out. So for me personally, yeah, Tony said it best. I have to agree.
Okay. Trill, who you choosing?
It's Black woman all day long. I mean, I'm not even really attracted to nothing else, so we're gonna keep it real. I think what's big for me is the relatability factor. My wife is from my hood, so I mean that speaks volumes to the relatability factor. Like, you got to be able to identify certain inside jokes that that we just know right out the gate. I don't even have to tell her that, she's just gonna know. Favorite TV shows, different shit like that, like favorite music. Like I don't feel like having to explain why this is funny to me, or why I like this song, or why this verse relates to, hits me dead in the chest. I need my woman to just kind of get it. You know what I'm saying? And that way, she'll know how to best, aid me, and know how to best like get me right and get me in the right headspace. But it's hard trying to get somebody in the right headspace if you can't 100% identify with them. And the fact is, dating outside of your race, y'all may have similarities, but there's going to be a vast difference in terms of just culture. Have you ever tried to go meet somebody from another race's family, parents, stuff like that? You sitting around, like me personally, I'm used to domino games and spade games and shit talking, loud talking all throughout the house. I can't go to nobody's house and that ain't going on. I'm gonna be in there just like, nah, this ain't gonna work. You know what I'm saying? Because when you marry, yeah, man, because when you marrying a woman, you're not just marrying her, you're marrying a family. So, I need somebody that gets me. And, the likelihood of that coming from a black woman, is through the roof. Plus, nobody got swagger like a black woman has. There's certain intangibles that they walk around with that just cannot be replicated. Like they may try to go get the BBL to look like them. They may try to go braid their hair back to look like them, but it's just certain swagger that a black woman has that, that you just cannot copy. You can't replicate it. So, yeah, black woman all day for me.
All right, we'll take it. Garwin, the floor belongs to you.
I would say my younger years, most definitely, I was all over the place. From Caucasian to Hispanic to Black. As I've gotten older, most definitely, I've found it, found to be more relatable to my sisters out there. Never been married before, but the first time I got married was a couple of years ago, and she was African American. So most definitely, I understand the cultural thing and going to someone's house and being in that situation. I've been there before, so I totally understand that and agree with that 100%. But I think what's his name said something, in my opinion, I think a woman is a woman depending on how they were raised. I've dated women outside of my race when I was younger. I pissed them off. They actually were worse than sisters that I dated. So I think, it varies on the person. But, like I said, in my later years, as I got older, most definitely I've gravitated towards, my peoples.
I think you said something very profound. I've dated women outside of my race.
Mm-hmm.
And when I've pissed them off, they've actually been worse or had a deeper response than Black women, because we have this whole movement of passport bros that are planning to go overseas to get a woman that's non-Black because to them, Black women are problematic. But I'm glad you shared that. Because
I mean, I've dating outside my race. I've heard that. Oh, you only date a white girl because of this. Oh, you date a Hispanic because of this. Black girls. Nah, not really. I date them because I had a connection or a conversation. But I think when it comes to someone acting a certain way, sometimes it just depends on your upbringing. In my opinion, that's just my opinion.
Salute. I love it. Al, who you choosing? Racial preference.
Black women. Nah, I haven't dated outside my race. I've messed around outside my race. Mm-hmm. But there's no other species that'll understand us more. Just keep it that simple.
Okay. I love simplicity. Leaves no room for confusion. Samson, we're passing the mic to you, King. Who you choosing? What's your racial preference, if you have one?
Yeah, well, being a biracial product myself, I was always taught not to see race, not to see color, but to see what's inside the heart, what's inside the head. However, being raised by a Black woman and having a Black grandmother and big mamas, and the family reunion really penetrates your soul where you believe that that's what love is. And I think the African diaspora is so vast. If it's not African American, you still got Afro-Caribbean. Here in Miami, we got that influence all over. And so you don't even know she's Afro-Caribbean or Latina until you hear her accent. So I think there's so much beauty out there in Black women across the world. And like Trill was saying, I think that relatability factor is key. I love not having to teach my woman something that I kind of expect her to know, because it's ingrained in her. It's part of her roots, it's her history. And I like those deep roots where I know my family will accept her and her family as well, because I don't believe it's just two getting married. I believe that it's two families coming together.
That was a good one. LJ, we're passing the mic to you.
Yeah,
What's your
answer a little differently.
That's good.
For me, Black Caribbean or a Black woman who understands Caribbean culture, because that's important for me. I was born and raised in the islands. I've only been in the States for 10 years. And like all of the guys mentioned, having someone who understands your culture, like you said, if a song comes on, she should be able to finish that, and all these different things in the Caribbean culture is slightly different than, American culture. And just having someone to share those types of experiences with and understand what it is important for me. So that would be my preference for sure.
So there's level to this. There's levels to this, of this level of Blackness, colorism thing. Because you have Black, you have the island girls, you have the Caribbean. So there's different textures, there's different layers that you can peel back when we get into like the granular details. So I love that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
All right, Jeffrey, take us home.
I've only met one woman who wasn't Black that was able to really capture my attention. And she and I've never dated. I've only dated Black women. I've been married twice. And I was really, really happy being a husband to a Black woman twice. And I look forward to that experience again. This time it'll be, the last time I get married. So for me, it's just, it wasn't even really a question. It was like, this is what you're going to do. This is how it is. It wasn't like it was forced upon me or anything like that. It was just the natural progression of my dating. One thing I want to kind of touch on is real quick about the passport bros. I had a good conversation with one of them, and it's not that they're looking for non-Black women. From his perspective, now, I'm not advocating for the passport bros.
Okay.
I'm just sharing the perspective they gave me. The one that spoke most intelligently about it was, in America, it's harder to find a woman that values the man's role in the family because they didn't see it growing up. When you go to other cultures, you're more likely to find a woman that comes from a family with a strong male figure in it, and it makes it easier for her to understand the male's true role in the family dynamic. That's the way that he described it. Personally, I believe that there are enough women in America, in our community, who do know what it looks like and who are willing to partner. I don't believe we have to go overseas to find it. I'm just sharing a perspective that somebody gave me. Once again, this is my disclaimer. I'm not a passport bro, but if you want that smoke, you can come for me. I'm ready.
No, it's good if you want to go over there and get your feet wet in the sand. I mean, come back and let us know. But you just walked me into my next question, because we got to talk about this, right? When you say a man is looking for a woman that has had a male figure in the home, I'm going to come back to that. But first of all, let me just show a little bit of love to the chat. Thank you, Congo English. Great discussion and replies from the men on the panel. Unfortunately, women in chat will say men do it too. How about listening and gaining discernment with respect to our disposition? We hear you. B. Taylor, thank you. She says, great panel and discussion tonight. Love it. Joel Casanova, he just sent us a 20 piece. So thank you. We appreciate it, King. On Ann, she sent us $9.99 a 10 piece. Thank you. And the Lioness, respect to the kings on the panel. So they're loving you guys. Thank you all. That brings me to my next question. Who's at fault for the discord between men and women? Is it the men that are leaving the families, or is it the women? Whoever wants to jump in first.
I'd love to take this one. I've written extensively about this. So let's, if we can change the word fault to accountability, or accountable, and use that same sentence, then I think that, and I may be in the minority when I say this, I think that discussing fault and blame is a fruitless endeavor. There's no reason to do that. Most men would say that we're very solution oriented. We don't want to sit around and talk about the problem, But when it comes to relationships, especially between Black women and Black men, that seems to be the pervasive conversation. Who's causing this? Who's at fault? I think personally that if more men took accountability for the state that we're in, without focusing on blame, without focusing on fault, without even focusing on the political and socioeconomic issues that brought us to this place, I think we could dig ourselves out of this hole a lot faster. I'm not sure why we have, as men, and I'm guilty of this because I wrote a whole book dedicated to women. I don't, and I promised I'd never do that again, because I don't know why, as men, we spend so much energy, so much time, so much of our resources focusing on the behavior of women, when we know that there is a huge gap when it comes to the men who are 20 years our junior, don't have men in their homes to teach them how to be men. We recognize this. We see it in the barbershop. We see it at the gym, on the basketball courts. We see it everywhere. But yet, when we start waxing poetic about relationships, all of our focus is on women, what women are doing, what women aren't providing. I mean, I even heard a brother say, women won't let us lead. That's not leadership. Leaders don't permit people to follow them. They just, they lead, and people follow them if they're going in the direction that person wants to go. So if we could change the word fault and blame to accountable, I think more men would be willing to step up and say, you know what, this isn't my fault, but it's definitely my problem. It's definitely my issue to provide a solution for. And I personally think if we can start holding ourselves accountable as men, at some point, women won't have a choice but to follow. I'll end there.
They're playing the tambourines in the what is it, congregation. They feel like you're delivering a sermon. All right, Calvin, there's a lot of discord. Who's at fault? The men or the women? We're seeing single parent households. The women are being assigned responsibility. It's their fault. They're too masculine, so the men don't want to be with them. Whatever, in your opinion.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to piggyback off of what Tony said. A lot of men, we want to wear the crown, but don't want to carry the cross, right? We want to go out there and we want the title, but we don't want the responsibility that it takes. And I so believe in accountability. Like Tony mentioned, we may not have been the person that did it, but it's our responsibility to fix it. And as men, if we want to be leaders, if we want to be that person where our queens is following us and making sure, we have to make sure that we're consistent. Culture is consistent. Kingdom is consistency. I mean, it's constant. You got to constantly be that person that a woman knows that I can follow him because he's doing the right things. And I don't believe in putting the blame on anyone. I don't believe in pointing the finger, because it isn't about who's right. It isn't about who's right or wrong. It's about what's right and what's wrong, and it's about fixing that and us fixing it together instead of putting the blame on anyone, because that doesn't get us anywhere.
I'll take it. Trill, we're going to pass the mic to you. There's a lot of discord in the Black community. Black men, Black women, single parent household. Who's to blame?
I played football back in the day, right? So I'll just use that as an analogy. Let's say that, I'm the head coach of a football team. And we go out there and we play in this game on Sunday, and our team get 35 penalties for 200 yards, and we lose the game. Now, I may not have been on the field wearing the shoulder pads, jumping off sides, or pass interference, or, whatever false start and whatever the penalties may be. But when I come in front of that podium, I'm the head coach. I'm the leader of this team. This team goes as my tutelage, as my direction goes. Right? So when I step in front of that podium, I can't say, nah, man, it was 35. The reason we lost, he had 6 penalties, man. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on with him. Like, nah, you don't get that option when you're the leader of a team. Leadership is taking accountability for things that are within your control. And the fact is that, how women are behaving. If we on one hand say that we are the leaders of society, and I'm a man, and because I hear a lot of these talking points, especially in the red pill space and things of that nature, right? Like I'm the man. Like women are down here. You do what I say. This, that, and the third. You get on my program and blah 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 blah. Right. So if you're gonna say that I'm the leader on one end, you can't duck accountability for losses on the other end, and that's what it boils down to. Fact is that a lot of us are not in the homes for whatever reason that may be. Now we can rewind back to maybe the 80s or so, crack era, and different things like that, COINTELPRO, whatever the case. But even with all of those things that were kind of in terms of the system being set up for us to fail, we still had to make a choice to partake, and we did that. We sold drugs, we used drugs, we broke the law, we went to jail. So as a result of that, we had a lot of homes that the dad was not in. So now you're leaving the woman to be the man and the woman, and then complaining about the byproduct of that scenario. Or you was just selfish and just say, hey man, forget all this shit. I know I got her pregnant. I don't want the baby, man. I'm out. I'm gone. I ain't doing no parts of this shit. So it's one of those two things, but either or you had a choice that you made. And it's not wrong with making the choice, depending on how your mindset is, right? But you can't make a choice and then complain about the results of said choice. So that's just how I see leadership, man. Like, at the end of the day, I feel firmly in the fact that, yes, there are going to be some women who just refuse to get on the program, who just super difficult, who's just, I don't want to say unreachable, but at the point of no return. But I think the fact is, as men, we reward a lot of those women with our time, effort, energy. Just like we said earlier on this part. Yeah, certain women that I smash, certain women I have sex with, but I never cuff her, I never guile her. She shouldn't even be getting that type of attention. If she's that uncoachable, if she's that unwilling to get into the program, if she's that just out here like that. And that's where leadership comes in, right? It's that as a man, I'm not going to stoop myself down there to that. I'm going to focus on the women who are ready to get on the program, and we're going to move this way. And if we're successful enough, then women, just like bro said, will have no choice but to get on the plan. And again, I'll bring another NFL analogy to close this thing out, right? There are a lot of players in the NFL who run into all types of trouble, getting in trouble with the law, police, sexual assaults, all different things like that, showing up late to practice, doing what I want to do, fighting in the club, this, that, and the third. And they may do that on the Detroit Lions. But when they go to New England Patriots, that don't happen. So you have to ask yourself, how is this player so uncoachable and so just terrible of a person away from that organization? But then when he comes into that organization, he's a model citizen. Speaks to the leadership, speaks to the infrastructure that's set up there. So in summary, if we want obedience, if we want our followers to move the right way, then we have to set up infrastructure for them too. And if we refuse to set up that infrastructure, we have to accept the byproduct of what comes with that. Simple and plain.
Thank you. Y'all out here baptizing people. I think people are really enjoying this panel, the conversation. Without further ado, let me go along the roster. Garwin, who's to blame? Who's at fault?
I go back to what, a couple of panelists said earlier, especially, Trill with the last comment about, the football team and all that. The leader, the coach takes the full blame when something happens on the field, so as the leader, I know the man is supposed to be the leader of the house and take responsibility for everything that happens. But that goes back to what I said earlier. Also, when it comes to compromise, if there's a compromise in the relationship as a whole, I don't think the issues will boil over to the point where one would leave. But if there's no compromise, then, it's going to boil over. And if everyone's doing their job and showing up, your boat should sail smoothly. But in today's society, I think the blame gets put on the men. Honestly, I see that 100%. I think it's put on the men versus it being a joint effort here, a joint situation.
Okay, that's fair. Al, what's your perspective? You're on mute, King. You're on mute. There you go.
What rely on a Black family structure. It's just that easy. Everything you see, the media, the TV shows, music, it's all in there. We're y'all enemy, y'all are our enemy. That's what they teach. It's nothing, it's not about, just tell me one Black family show that they have on now. Everything's about destroying the black family. It's the government. Until we come together as one, we'll fight this forever.
I think that's a good call out. I think that's a very good call out. Definitely something to consider. Somebody said that I'm listening now, and I wasn't listening a month ago. They're talking about how, so I'm a completely different character on Wednesday nights when I'm on the cruise season. I'm a guest. You're in my home tonight, and I treat my guests with respect. But Wednesday night, tomorrow night is a different story. I'll be back in the game on the yard line, ready to run the plays. Samson?
I kind of alluded to this earlier in the conversation, but I'll start off by saying that I'm definitely enjoying this panel, this discussion. You definitely got several intelligent brothers here giving some great insight. I tend to agree with them all. And just for the ladies that are in your chat, I'll say there are a lot of alpha females that are out there that look for alpha males, but want to co-lead a relationship. I'm the type of brother that welcomes that. So in those types of scenarios, I think both have to take accountability. And to what I was saying earlier in the discussion, if you're able to have a meaningful exchange to deliver your point, to prevent it from going south, then you're doing your part for the relationship. If you're not, then you're the wrong one. Can the other person bring you back to the fold? Correct. Call it course. But I think both adults have the opportunity to succeed. Both adults have the opportunity to fail. And when one is failing, it's the responsibility of the male or the female to lift that other person up. Because we've all been wrong and we've all been right. All can't be the coach. Sometimes you need to be the MVP player on the field. And as long as we can get along like Belichick and Brady, then you're going to win Super Bowl rings. I'll just keep it short.
All right. LJ. Who's
Yeah,
the brave?
I'll
Who's that
keep it
Paul?
short. I keep it short too. I agree with Al in terms of, what we hear in the music, right? FREE, F nigga free, like all these things, what we see in the media, what we see as a representation of a Black couple, right? I think all of that has to play into this, as well as there's many options out there, right? When we start to face hard times, what is really holding us together, right? If you could just go out there and get someone better, whatever the case may be, right? So that causes a lot of destructive homes, I would say. But at the end of the day, I think, both men and women have to take accountability for fighting and making something work in a community, right? Maybe some of us grew up without a father figure or even a mother figure, but understanding the impact that has on your children, on your lineage, I think these are all things to consider as you're looking to keep a family together. So that's what I would say about the situation.
Okay. We got an echo. Somebody needs to mute their phone. Jeffrey.
Yes. Are we good now? All right. So, I don't know where the echo is coming from. So I love all the answers from everybody on the panel. I'm gonna take it a little bit deeper. how did we get in this situation? How did our community become so fragmented? I want you to really think about this. This isn't something that just happened. I mean, our communities, we had Black Wall Streets around the country. We had millions of acres of farmland. That was wealth. What happened to all that wealth? Where did it go? Did our people just piss it away? No, it was taken by design. Our Black wealth being taken from us was the first thing that happened that started us down the path of a broken home. And that ended with where we are right now. Here's where I'm going to bring it together. We're asking the wrong questions at times. Yes, we get that crabs in the barrel mentality, and we start talking about women pulling us down and men pulling us down. How the hell did we get in the barrel? Who put us in the barrel is the question. How do we get out of the barrel is the question. Why is a barrel and a crab even a thing? Crabs don't belong in a barrel. They go when they are in their natural environment, crabs do just fine. But you put them in a barrel, that's when there's disharmony. So I want you to understand the projects were the barrel that they put us in. Redlining was them capturing us and keeping us in a certain area. Those things can't be forgiven. So my solution is this. Everything the brother said, absolutely. We got to have it. The government also has to reinvest in our communities since they invested in destroying our communities. NWA said it best. We ain't got no boats to bring no drugs over here. How did the drugs get in our communities? I mean, drugs have their sold in every community. Drug use is about the same in every community, but we were over-policed and over-prosecuted for it. So I'll submit respectfully. Everything the brother said is on point. At the same time, there is a big-ass check that is owed to our community, and that investment needs to be repaid to rebuild what they destroyed.
Boy, give yourself a round of applause. You did that, Jeffrey. That was good. We're gonna pause for that. We're gonna give you a moment of silence. That was great. I think Al, you wanted to add on to that?
No, I'm just agreeing with him. That's all.
Hold on, Queen, you muted.
I want to thank you, Trill. I want to share a video. Mute up, you guys. I'm gonna share a video.
Excuse me, what?
All right, here we go.
Like y'all gotta realize, you got a wife and you know your wife look good, maybe not look as good as the options you have on the table. You gotta realize that your wife might be the best option on another nigga table. Damn. So your wife might be a 7 to you based on the social circle that you move in, but for some of these other niggas, your wife might be a 12. Damn. Like she look better than anything they ever had, and she gonna get your money when she leave.
Damn, she gonna get your money. So she gonna be a 12
win when she got the house, she got the money, she look better than this bitch I got 3 babies with. I wish his gal would.
Damn.
Like y'all gotta realize, if you got a wife and you know your
All right. Did that come through? Because I don't want no excuses. He's talking about not taking your woman for granted. Who wants to start with that one first to give your feedback, your perspective based on that video?
I want to jump in on that one because that's something that I work with men on mastering. And it's really staying in your woman's head. This is what I mean. You can never let your woman get comfortable knowing what you're going to do. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a good way. The more you keep your woman guessing, the more you keep her wondering what you're going to do next, the less likely she is to have any mental energy to focus on anything a man does outside of you. A guy wants to buy her flowers. My husband did this for me. A guy want to take her on a date. My husband cooks for me. Brothers, I cannot stress enough. If you keep your woman guessing at what you are going to do next, not only will she not focus on that other man, but she gonna set it off for you.
Anybody want to take that on? The video, give your perspective. Trill?
Yeah, I was a bit conflicted with it. First, I salute the Bun B, man. That's Port Arthur, Texas, right there, man. Shout out to bro. Rest in peace, Pimp C. But yeah, I was a little conflicted. I mean, what he's saying is 1,000% right. Like we said all the time, one man's trash is another man's treasure, right? But I think that's horrible incentive for you to value your wife. That's my gripe. Because it's like it shouldn't matter what other men think about my wife. I should look at my wife and see her as the great woman she is. And I think that's what happens a lot of times, like when you be in long-term relationships. You'll sometimes forget why you chose that person. And especially with social media, which allow you to fool yourself into believing that these women who you see in moderation, every now and again, or even if you kicking it with them when they out in your circles or whatever, all of that's in moderation. You're not with them 24/7. You're not seeing the, ugly side of them because they all have it. And I think, a lot of men have to lose a great woman to go out there and learn that. And then you go out there and learn that horrible ass lesson. And now that great woman that you let go to moved on to another man who's valuing her appropriately. Now you sick to your fucking stomach, pardon my French. So, I think like men have to like, I don't want to say like ignore everything else, but you have to find value in your woman that's strictly tied to, what it is that you, I guess, praise of what you hold in high regard. Like you chose her because she was dope. You chose her because she was attractive. You chose her because the relatability factor, how well y'all got along, the inside jokes, all that, like what she inspires you to be, what she pushes you to be. And you got to cling to that in times where, because don't get me wrong, like it's going to be times to where y'all argue and y'all can't stand each other. I've been married a long time now. And a lot of times when that's the case, me and my wife will put on our wedding video because we got it on flash drive, put it on, watch it, and it's like, okay, it's like a recharge, make you remember what it is that we signed up for this shit to be, what it is that we signed up for. And sometimes you need that regrounding. Because if you don't, like I said, people spend 9-10 hours a week on their phone, looking at their phone in terms of screen time. iPhone gives you a unfortunate reminder at the end of every week. So a lot of people take that and you constantly comparing it to your wife. You're constantly comparing this chick that's in this bikini to your wife. Damn, she out of shape. You're constantly comparing this chick who has a podcast. Damn, she speaks so much better than my wife. Damn, she did. It's a constant comparison. But I promise you, if you get rid of your wife and you start dating that woman, you will be sorry that you got rid of your wife because she's not all she's cracked up to be. And you don't know that because, like I said, you're seeing her in moderation. You're seeing the trailer. When they release a new movie, they put out a trailer before you go to the movie and see it. That's what social media is, especially Instagram. That's what that is. You're seeing the best parts of that movie. They put the best parts of that movie in the trailer so it can grab you and bring you to the theater. But a lot of times we done seen a dope ass trailer and we get to the theater and leave out the movie like, I cannot believe I spent my $20 on this bullshit. So don't let that be a real life scenario with somebody that's important as the person you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. So that's my only thing. Just in summary, I was a little conflicted. I see what he was trying to say, but I don't want to base my view of my wife on what other men think.
I gotcha. He laid a lot out there. Calvin, what you picking up and what you putting down?
Can I talk about it? Because I have a similar view as Trill, right? Like you mentioned, I think this goes back to the first question you asked us, right? What are the list of things from a priority perspective? When I said intelligence, beauty, sexual chemistry, cooking, right? Like Trill mentioned, you don't know what you don't know, right? You may see somebody that you perceive from a visuals may look a certain way, right? Different to your woman, but you can't go off of that. You don't know if this woman is messed up in the mind. You don't know if, she's out here around. There's so many unknowns, right? And I promise you, like he mentioned, you try to go over to that side, you'll quickly realize you made a mistake, right? So value your woman is number one. Do things to keep the relationship fresh, right? I think people get complacent, people get comfortable, and you're doing this routine, you're getting a routine, and it's the same thing day in, day out that can, kind of cause you to be like, man, I want something different. But I feel like if you keep things fresh and you're constantly aware of doing that and valuing your woman, it's definitely the right move to do. So I agree 100% with Trill.
Let me ask you this, LJ.
Yeah.
Do men keep it fresh? Or do men rely on women to keep it fresh?
I think it's a two-way thing. I mean, as a man, I'll do everything for my woman not to feel bored, right? For me personally, I like adventure. I don't like to feel like I'm doing the same thing over and over. And I want my woman to do the same for me, right? When we first met and we used to go out and, you get all sexy and all that stuff when you were trying to win me over, that's the type of energy I want you to have throughout the entire relationship, because that's the type of energy I'm bringing, right? I don't want you to ever feel like I'm just some boring guy sitting on the couch watching TV. You go out, you see somebody else that looks more fun or looks more of a good time than what you have at home, right? So I think it's on both of us to keep that type of energy, and keep the relationship kind of, fresh.
That's what's up. Calvin, back to you, my friend.
I'm going to keep this short because Trill and LJ kind of summed it up. I used to play basketball a lot. And when I played basketball, you always had people on the side saying, I have next. But as long as I was on the court and I was playing and I was putting in the work, I didn't care who had next. I would always put in that work, and I would always make sure that I'm winning and that my team is winning, and that's really what it is, making sure that you are putting in that work to make sure that you don't have to worry about who has next. And as long as we're doing this together and we're putting in that work, you ain't worrying about that because you're winning, and just got to keep on winning. And, my pastor used to have this. My pastor used to say this to his wife all the time. He used to say, I'm going to love you so good that when I die, you're going to live off the memories, right? So it's just loving that person that you're with to make sure that you just pour into them.
You know what? I agree. God forbid if something happened to my husband, no man could ever love me like he loves me. And I'm a handful. I'm a Scorpio. Let me just leave it there. Al, I'm going to pass the mic to you, Al, and then I'm going to hit Garwin because he got dropped, and I'm going to work my way back up. Al, you got to unmute yourself. There you go. Wait, hit it again and pause. There you go.
Well, they pretty much covered everything. I mean, personally, I keep it a little chaotic every once in a while just to keep her on her toes, keep her guessing. Cause I mean, y'all like chaos, so every once in a while I gotta just show you. Cause sometimes men, we put that old 19, 20-year-old, 20, 24-year-old of us in a box and we lock it away. And then every once in a while y'all make us pull it out just to show y'all that we still got it. So that's just it. Just you gotta keep that fire and that desire. Like she walk around, I slap on the ass. Just that she walk, look at you, just keeping that fire there, just here and there. That's all.
I love it. Garwin, that's a hard act to follow.
Hey, that is. I'm gonna keep it short. You know, I had a feedback. You know, growing up with my mom and dad. You know, my dad most definitely was that person who kept it fresh for my mother. And once my dad passed away 5 years ago, you can still tell my mom still has that in her. You know, his freshness in her. So I agree with what everyone said about that piece of it. But growing up, I don't think I ever learned that from my pops. So I had to learn it on my own. And it took me a while to get to that point throughout the years of course, failed relationships over and over again with going stale and not being the active guy in the relationship. Just to, hey, I got it now. Let me sit back, relax, with my feet up, and do nothing. All the time, she's getting what she wanted from somewhere else, you know, and I'm at the house looking like and feeling like, you know, oh, I got it on lock, but it wasn't in real life. But I learned to be that person once I decided to get married. And once I got married, you know, I was that person who kept it fresh every day, every week, every month, every holiday, every birthday. Even though I didn't celebrate my birthday, I made it a fact to most definitely celebrate hers for the whole month of her birthday. So I think keeping it fresh, and most definitely it boils down to both parties keeping it fresh and keeping it going. Because without both parties, it goes back to my initial conversation about compromise. It won't work. It won't work.
Yeah. You know, you bring up a good point because people assume that when you come from a two-parent home, you have the blueprint and you're off to success. You're off to happily ever after. But you just said there's some things that you did not learn from your dad, and you came from a two-parent home.
Yep.
So I want people to take that in.
Yeah.
Thank you. Tony?
Yeah.
So I agree with everything that's been said. I mean, when I proposed to my wife, another man's opinion of her had nothing to do with the motivation to marry her. So I don't think it should have anything to do with the motivation to remain married to her. My wife is an exceptionally beautiful woman, and I mean an objectively beautiful woman. It's not even me looking at her through rose-colored glasses. I get feedback about her all the time, but the difference between me and any other man, I love the Calvin. I love the I got next analogy. I thought that was perfect. I'm on the court now. I mean, I think that's an amazing analogy, and I never assume that you know, I've done enough, right? And my goal is not to keep her, but to keep her satisfied, or at least to keep her to a point where she's no longer trying to fill gaps that I've created in our relationship. Because I do think it's exhausting. Being married is an exhaustive endeavor, because you have to that marriage has to be cultivated. It has to be, you know, watered and nurtured every single day. You can't take a break, and if you do, it's not so much someone coming in and taking something from you. It's the other person allowing their eye to wander, allowing, you know. And just to be vulnerable, when I got divorced the first time, I wasn't looking at other women and saying, man, she's fine, I wish I could be with her. It was, man, I like the way this person talks to me or treats me. I would like to be closer. You know what I mean? Maybe even not that person. I just see that there's an alternative to the situation that I was in. What I didn't take accountability for was I created a lot of the tumultuous nature of my relationship. I created a lot of it, but I just don't think that and here's the thing: if there's another man that thinks that he can love my wife better than I can, then I say go for it. Give it a try. And because I think I'm solidified in my relationship enough that I don't think she would even entertain him. And I think that's the mindset that we should all have. I welcome the competition, because I just, at the end of the day, don't think that there will be any. So, and I trust her not to allow that too. So,
but do you really welcome the competition? Or you hope those coyotes stay at bay?
No, because I can't control. You know, I learned that I can't control other men. Right, my wife's DMs right now are just inundated, and she posts me all the time.
Your wife's good.
Yeah, she's beautiful, and I can't. I used to get really upset about the way men showed attention to my wife, and I used to frame it as, you're disrespecting me. But then I had to come to the realization that all of these words that you're posting on her social media page you don't have access. You're speaking to her from the position or from the vantage point that she allows you to. And if any time she decides she no longer wants to entertain you or even allow you to speak, she can block you. So,
Yeah.
and all you see is what she has cultivated, what she has curated. You don't see what I see. You know what I mean? There's a whole other part of this person that you don't see, and I'm not suggesting that that isn't just as beautiful as the part that's on Instagram, but I'm not going to get jealous of someone who is trying to be where I'm already at, right? Instead, I'm just going to maintain my position. Again, going back to Calvin's analogy, I just thought that, and I'm still in that. I just want you to know that. I want to. That's such a great analogy because I'm not worried about who's called next. I don't even care. You may never touch this court. They might close the lights out because I'm winning. And that's my focus. But once I shift my focus from the game that I'm playing to the person who wants to play on the court that I own, I've already lost,
I equate it to a lot of times when people see couples, there's a 50-50 energy there. They see you cruising, they see you at the restaurant, they see you vacationing, and they don't realize that a lot of the energy that you're receiving just from the outside looking in is because of the input that I give from my 50%. But just know, if I leave from a man's perspective and or a woman's perspective, you're not getting that vibe because that was a vibe that I brought. So come what may. Does that make sense?
It does. And my wife has this saying. She says, if a woman wants to take you from me, just know that she can't take the batteries that I put in. So she's gonna have to have. This is battery sold separately. So you're not gonna get the man that I create. You can take the man and you can make the man, but you will never take the man that I made. So I
you're not getting lobster. He don't even like lobster. I like it. I post it on social media. So don't come over here thinking you're finna get a piece of lobster or a piece of steak. That's me, boo. But anywho, Samson.
Okay, well, it seems like between Trill and the football examples and Calvin with the love of basketball examples, a lot of ladies after this is going to be like, turn to their man and be like, we got to play ball more. I think ladies are going to be ready just to say, you know what, I need to sit down on Sundays and just grab a beer with you and just watch the game. Because you see how we're drawing parallels between love, relationships, and sports, the things we're truly passionate about. Big ups to Omar Epps and Sanaa Lathan, right? Love and basketball. I think that we got to avoid the contrasts and comparatives. These are the unhealthy distractions that divide something that's actually working. And since there are already 7 other distinct and diverse perspectives that were shared already on this one topic by Bun B, big ups PAT once again, I think that if we have a nucleus around us and those perspectives are more real and not optimistic, then we may fail. And I'm just saying, like, we have a lot of girls, we have a lot of guys. There's always, I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm gonna keep it 100, versus the optimism, the positivity, the encouragement, the motivation, the prayer that needs to unfold to allow focus on why you're invested in that person to begin with is there. And so that's what I wish there was more of within Black love, was a girlfriend that has girlfriends that are more optimistic and encouraging and sees the good in the man that she's invested in. And likewise for a man that sees the beauty in her, even when she's not at her best, and encourages that opportunity to grow. It's the reason why I love to give plants to women as gifts, because like the brother said who spoke last, you got to water things, you got to nurture it, you got to give it some time. And if you're focused on your plant, you're not looking what's going on the other side of the fence. So that's what I got to share.
No, that's good. You guys are awesome. Like for real, for real. Y'all are bringing it, but I'm going to bring it back. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to think about it. What's the one thing women need to know from a man's perspective regarding communication, looks, submission, friends, sex, marriage, what a man wants in a woman, why men cheat, why some men will never marry you, but will stay with you for 10 plus years, a man's love language. I'm going to go down the line. And I want you to give me, I'm going to go one by one. When it comes to communication, what's one thing, unfiltered truth, women need to know about communication when it comes to a man? Don't hold back. Keep it real. I'm going to start with Al.
My hair. Okay. Communication. We've covered everything, but I don't cheat. Like, I'll tell a woman from the get-go, if things not working out, I move on. Like, I am what you see. I say what I mean. So I think a lot of times we say things and women second guess it. They try to say, well, that's not what he really means. What he really means is this. She disappeared. So my major thing is,
if you could say anything regarding communication, what would you say?
It to me is just communication. Everything relies on communication. If we can't solve a problem, if you put a problem out there and you won't let me solve it, then there lies the problem. Like, everything's in communication.
Okay. Trill, the unfiltered truth when it comes to communication, men and women.
Your ass is not perfect. I think women walk around with an I'm perfect complex, and that's what gets them in situations to where they don't know what's going through their man head for real, or they man to go out here and act a fool and do something wild, and then they just befuddle. That's how it could happen. That's because, again, like I said, most women do more talking than listening. Like, she'll literally ask you a question and try to answer it for you, or you'll give her an answer and she'll say, "Okay, well, you don't really," just like bro just said, you don't really mean that. You mean this. No, sometimes just shut up and let the man talk and take his word for face value. We don't need you jumping in to finish the sentence. We don't need you trying to overanalyze and interpret. We don't need you taking what we say and turning it into woman speak, in terms of, like, if we asking for a certain thing, you say, okay, well, I know he asked for that, but I think this will be better for him, so I'll give him this. We don't need none of that. Take what that man say for face value, because for one, it's hard for a man to even open up and communicate needs to you to begin with. So I think that has to be factored in. So when he does, shut up, listen to what the man is saying, internalize it, implement it. Don't get so defensive. When you asking a man questions, he say some shit you don't like. Oh, well, yeah, well, but when you do this, oh, well, I don't like when we not on me right now. We on you. So let's stay there. But a lot of women will, again, try to spin it around to kind of, duck accountability. And, men, because we don't be feeling like arguing, we'll just let y'all do it and never get out what it is that we trying to say. But, again, as a woman, I feel like if you love that man, you need to make a space for him to be able to communicate. And fact is, women don't do that. Women claim to be great communicators, but in reality, they are terrible at it. They are great at getting their point across, but they're terrible at taking in information and implementing it from their man. And how could you be great at it if you feel like you do no wrong? So just to make that complete circle, you are not perfect.
Yeah.
When that man is giving you constructive criticism, he's giving it to you for the betterment of you guys. He's not giving it to you to tear you down, to make you sad, to make you cry. That's not what he's doing it for. He's doing it so y'all can have a better relationship going forward. But if you take that as he's just attacking me, you're going to miss the message again. And then after a while, the man is just going to stop communicating with you, period. And he's going to start expressing himself in ways that are unproductive, that shall go unnamed. But you can fix that if you just shut up and listen to that man.
B. Taylor, he said what he said, and he doubled down on it. Even though you put it in the chat, he said, if we just shut up and listen. You know what? That's real. Women are great debaters, not necessarily great communicators. And with that being said, I'm going to shift to LJ. Calvin, I'm going to come back to you.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said, listen to understand, don't listen to reply. That's key. That's the first thing I would say. Second thing I would say, no two men are the same. Not because your ex used to say this and he meant that. That means it's the same situation over here, right? So understand your man, take his word for face value, implement any suggestions, changes that he said, right? Because like my brother said up there, if you keep on saying the same thing and there's no change, you're not understanding, then we're gonna just do our thing, right? We get fed up with that, right? I said those are key things for sure. I think a lot of women just, like to argue, right? Like to be right about things, So if you're having a conversation, communicate with me, converse with me to understand, not to argue. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just truly telling you how I feel. And you tell me how you feel. And we come to some compromise. And we put actions and plans in place to make changes to make sure that both of us are satisfied, all right? So I think that's the key for me from a communication perspective.
Samson, did I get you?
I mean, you can pass on me, because I really don't understand. Did you hear me?
Yeah, we're ready.
I'm just. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry, I'm distracted.
So when it comes to the unfiltered truth regarding communication, if you could just tell a woman straight up, listen, when it comes to communication, here's the real truth about how men feel about communication, what would you say?
Here's the real truth about how men feel.
Or how you feel.
Maybe come back to me on this one, Queen.
Please just get out of my face. Please just get out of my face.
We're going to come back to you. All right. We're going to go to Garwin.
That's a tough question for me. But I would say I don't need a woman. I mean, from a communication standpoint, a woman who's going to debate me every time I say something. And women are, like you said, they like to debate. I don't need that. I don't think a relationship should be built on that. If you say something, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to reply, but I'm not going to debate you on a topic unless it affects me immediately. Be like, okay, that's cool. Let's go. But I can say the same thing, and it's a whole debate for 2 weeks. And I'm not winning for 2 weeks. I'm sleeping in the guest bedroom. So okay. I think women need to be more vulnerable too. That's the thing. I think women who put up the wall and want to debate, they don't want to be vulnerable and accessible.
What does that really mean? Forget the nice words. Say what you really mean.
I mean, they got a wall up, and they're in the back of their mind, they're putting what happened to them in the past or how they were brought up in front of you. And they're blocking off that vulnerability with that.
So if you could sum that up, say what? Stop bringing your problems to me. I ain't got time. What would you say?
Yeah. I mean, that in simple. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. That's real. Jeffrey.
I got something to add to that.
Go ahead, Trill.
I think another thing, because I'm seeing this in the chat a lot. Stop hiding behind tone and delivery when it's some shit that you don't want to hear. Y'all have a bad habit of doing that, right? Like when in reality, oh, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. When in reality, I'm sure every man on this stage can vouch for it, especially in regards to your woman. You could whisper something that you feel like she's not doing right, or something that she can improve on, and she's gonna take it as you yelling in her face and cussing her out, right? But again, women are skilled in debating or skilled in argument, because when they get to losing, they'll resort to how I feel. I feel like you're attacking me. I feel like your tone is too loud, even though she been yelling at your ass for 20 minutes straight at a high octave, right? But we raise our voice 1 decibel. Just, oh, wait a minute, why are you yelling at me? Stop hiding behind tone and delivery just because it's some shit that you don't want to hear. I just wanted to add that, but continue.
Listen, I'm a shmee when it comes to that. I'm a subject matter expert. Let my husband raise his voice. I'm jumping in my car. I'm going to do a donut out the garage. I'm going to go around the church. All that. I'm going to pray. I'm going to come back. I'm going to tell him he hurt my damn feelings. I had to pray about it. The pastor said he should be nice. All that good shit. You're spot on. Jeffrey.
One really important thing is that women recognize that we don't communicate like your girlfriends. The way you talk to your girlfriend is not the way you should talk to your man, and you should not expect your man to talk to you like he's one of your girlfriends. You have to understand how we communicate. Like men, decode that and understand that we're just talking to you in our own communication style. But don't get it twisted. We shouldn't talk to you like you're one of our dudes. At the same time, though, there's this desire for women, or from some women, let me clean it up, for men to communicate like women. Damn that. We're not doing that. We're going to communicate like men. And you're going to have to learn us. And in learning us, it'll be a better understanding of the dynamics of the relationship. The last thing I got is this. I heard one young lady say something like, I'm over here playing chess. You men playing checkers. There's some men that will absolutely wax your ass on a checkerboard. There are some congruencies between checkers and chess. The way that the pieces move, it's the same thing, except you got the specialized pieces. Here's my whole point. If you got a checkers master and he gets that one checker piece to the other board, you have to crown that checker piece. Now that piece is unlocked, and he's going to make all types of moves to wipe you up. So, ladies, you may love to debate, and you may love your little back and forth. I give you that. When you got the type of man that knows how to communicate, that's even more skillful, he's going to wax you in communication skills and in debates, and you ain't going to like it. And what you're going to say is he's controlling, or he tried to do this. Nah, he just wore that ass out in that debate, and you didn't like it. I'm submitting, ladies, respectfully now. Just be prepared. You will run across a man who has his stuff together, who can communicate just as well as you. He can articulate and verbalize his feelings, and you will find out just how emotionally vulnerable you really are.
A moment of silence, King. Again. But this, this gives me a transition into Samson, because Samson, you got ate up on social media for communicating well. I feel like you, because you communicated well, because you dealt with the process the way you were supposed to, based on a reality show that you were featured on. You understood the assignment when it came to dating multiple women. You treated the women the same. And there was a moment where you were placed on the guillotine because one woman wanted you in the early process to not treat her the same as the other women.
Oh.
So when we talk about communication, if you could really say what the hell you want to say regarding communication, what would you say?
Don't listen to the chatter. There's an opportunity just to focus on what's in front of you. So what I wanted to say earlier that I was just trying to figure out how to say it was, maybe I'm still kind of baffled on how I want to present it, but always try to be PC, very politically correct and diplomatic in my approach. That way I can be understood. But, sometimes I got to be like Trill and just come out and just say what needs to be said. And I know you got to meet some people where they are. That way it can be interpreted properly, right? You got to meet people where they are. To that point, I just want to make sure that I'm not proving to be someone different in her past. There's so many men that have to prove that they're not someone else before they can be truly received for who they are. And so please accept me in the conversation for me and you from day one when we started versus 5-10 years ago before me and you came into existence. So I want to see you apply your history, but not the negativity from my past into our present. And so focus on the conversation that we have, the promise that we have, enjoy the moment, what's present, and let's focus on how we can get through it together.
That's real. I think women often, that happens when a woman doesn't pause to heal, to rejuvenate, to go to that isolation space, to love, to heal, to take a time out. So when we don't do that, everything that you just described shows up with the next guy. And a lot of women are afraid to wait. They want a good man, but they're not going to wait on a good man. They will entertain F-boys in the process of waiting. But not too many women are comfortable being a lady in waiting. Does that make sense? And I mean...
And I'll add to this, Queen. I'll add to that, Queen. It takes a good man, a patient man, to aid in that effort. It's not her fault that she's been hurt. It's not her fault that she has history with, 1, 2, or even multiple men that have put her through the ringer. Sometimes it is her fault because communication may be challenging for her. But it's our job as leaders to ensure that we're giving her a fair shot at recovering from that. We're not looking at, women don't want saviors, and we don't want heroes, but they really truly want partners. And I think it's truly an opportunity for her to develop respect, not just rapport for her man, saying, this is the one God that enabled me to see men differently. There's a book out there that your audience should know about. I know Trill mentioned it earlier about, what books are you reading? The Bible is a good book, but there's one book out there called The Pause Principle, P-A-U-S-E, Pause Principle. And the whole emphasis for Fortune 1s and Fortune 5s that give this to their new employees in HR is to, when confronted with an issue, when you're going through some type of dispute, choose an alternate dispute resolution. Pause for a second. Refuse the natural reaction that you would have and force yourself to have an obtuse, different reaction to the stimulus presented before you. Pause, breathe, take a step back. Let me not put that knee-jerk reaction out there in front of you that never, ever works. Let me be more polished.
Oh, that's relevant.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No, that's relevant. But a lot of people don't grow up in households where women are pausing, where men are pausing. You're in house. Some people, if we can keep it real, you're going to get your ass cussed out based on some of the backgrounds they've come up with. You're going to get your ass beat. I mean, can I keep it real? There's a lot of dysfunction when we talk about what we've seen, where we are, what translates to us, and what we carry over in relationships. And I agree with you. That's why I say it's important, not only for women, but for men. Call a timeout. Bench yourself. Put yourself on second string or what is it? Second string, the red, what is it? The red team. What is it called? The red what?
Yeah, red team, JV, backup, bench,
second string,
scrubs,
All of that.
ADT, much different names.
Yeah, all of that. But oftentimes we can't, and we don't, and we won't, because nobody wants to be left behind. Which takes me to my next question. When it comes to sex, one thing, if you could say to a woman, unfiltered truth, when it comes to sex, what would you say to her? Did I skip anybody? I think I got everybody. But when it comes to sex, and if you could just really say what you really think, what would you say? Trill.
There is no bad time for it. You don't ever have to guess if your man is in the mood or not. Y'all could be in public, y'all can be at home, y'all can be wherever. You should always assume that he's in the mood, because 99.9% of the time, and that's generous, he is. He's gonna be in the mood. So don't wait on him to initiate. Don't do none of that. Sometimes you just gotta dive in there, because we be having a lot of shit going on, a lot of things in our head, and some women, are kind of passive in that, regard. Kind of hold, well, I didn't know if you was. Let me explain something. You don't ever have to question it. You don't ever have to worry. We always ready for it. And also, don't get into the relationship and turn into a prude. Get into the relationship, when we was dating and shit, we was having sex everywhere. The car, head in the car, like all type of shit, just wild. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. And now we get in a relationship and it's just bed, missionary, go to sleep. That ain't it. That ain't it. We need you to be that same. I'm trying not to curse no more, but that same adventurous woman that you were when you was trying to get us into the relationship. We need that. Keep that energy going. Also, frequency is key. Don't advertise something to us in the dating stage that you cannot maintain after you get us. A lot of women are overachieved to win the job. That's just like going into an interview and say, yeah, man, I can, I do coding. Yeah, I'm an expert in Excel. I'm an expert in this, that. Then the first day on the job, they're all right, yeah, go ahead and do your thing. How do you, because they done oversold themselves just to try to get the job. And a lot of women will do that, right? Because again, in the dating stage, they know how important sex is to men. So they'll try to go above and beyond and say, you know what, we having sex every time we kick it. That may be 5-6 times a week because I know that he values sex, but I'm not really in the mood like that, but I'm gonna try to force it. But what you're doing is you're setting a standard that you cannot maintain afterwards. We get into a relationship and that's gonna make us resent you. And that's gonna make us express our resentment towards you in very unproductive ways. So advertise what you can maintain. That'll be all.
Okay. Well, I gotta come in for the ladies because I'm not just gonna let you have the floor, Trill, without pushing back. Otherwise, it wouldn't be right. So when you say don't start something you can't finish, I would push back and say to the men, don't start something you can't finish. Don't get me used to Ruth Chris, nice steakhouses, opening the door for me. Whatever y'all do.
I don't mean to interrupt. I don't mean to interrupt.
No, hold on, Jeffrey. Hold on. I'm on a roll, Jeffrey. I'm on a roll.
But you asked us a question about sex, and this is what women do. You are deflecting to a whole different topic.
No, I'm not.
Just to be right. Just to be right.
Hold on.
And that's what we're talking about now. I'm going on mute. I had to call you
because
out, but I'm going on mute.
Facts.
He did something to get sex, right? So he put out a little, he picked me up. He called. He was consistent. He texted me, good morning, good night. Gave me a little Starbucks, sent me a little flowers on Valentine's. He did all that. He was patient during the movie, held my hand. And now he expects me just to blow the whistle. Trill, not happening. Al, go ahead.
Look, man, I would say this, right? I would call cap in that aspect, and this is why. I think women, after they get into the relationship, they look at the dating stage with rose-colored glasses. and you get to forgetting the effort that the man was really putting in. Come on, let's just be honest here. Most women value, especially younger women, that's a young age. Like we all grown on this stage. I mean, like younger women, right? They value a bit of toxicity. They value a man that they gotta kind of chase, a man that kind of has options per se. So a lot of times that man is not necessarily going above and beyond the way that you just described, right? He playing the extra dates and we holding hands and all of this. A lot of times that man is just showing up and doing enough to keep you interested. And because you like that man so much, which I say all the time, women have two sets of rules. They have a set of rules for the man that they actually like, and they got a set of rules for everybody else, right? But more times than not, y'all don't get into committed relationships with the everybody else man, right? So we got to speak to the perspective of you get in a relationship with the man that you actually like. That mean rules were bent. That mean effort wasn't always top notch. And that didn't stop you from going above and beyond to separate yourself and compete, as a lot of these red pill men say, with the other women that man was dating, right? So I don't like when women get into the relationship and get to speaking on things that didn't actually happen, and they'll get to, oh, the man dropped off in terms of his effort and in terms of what he was giving. No, he didn't. That man was giving the same effort that he's giving now than he was before then. But the difference is you looking at the relationship and looking at it with a different lens now compared to what it was. He never gave you an exorbitant, back-breaking amount of effort. And he's not doing that now, and he shouldn't be vilified for it. But you, on the other hand, and a lot of women, and it may not be you, like my boy Ricky say, it's never the women on this stage, never. I'm talking about the women that are in the abyss. A lot of women, like I said, especially in regards to sex, we talk about sex. They will have sex at an extremely high clip, meaning damn near every time we kick it, I call you over to watch Netflix. We don't even get to the credits. You already doing your hand and already went up in my zip, all types. Like y'all are very willing to give it up. And a lot of times before that man has even committed to you, if we're going to be honest on this stage, right? So like I said, don't oversell something to us that you cannot maintain after you get in a relationship. That's what a lot of y'all do. Go from having sex 4 to 5 times a week, and then the man get 8 months, a year into that relationship, and that then turn into 2 or 3 times a month. So, again, advertise what you can maintain. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to pause on it. Calvin, I'll come back to you. Did I skip Calvin? I'll come back to you, Calvin.
So is it Calvin or Al?
Al.
Okay. I'm not gonna lie. It's been times where I've slacked off. I mean, it's anybody that owns their own business or doing their own thing. Business are seasonal, so sometimes you don't have the energy. A lot of times you work 18 hours and you don't have the energy. But don't get me wrong. When that time comes, when everything falls in order, oh, I'm gonna slut you out. Like I love sexual energy. I love when a woman. Wow, I'll bring it out of you. Believe me, because I can't be with you unless you're a freak. So I'm gonna bring it out of you no matter what. Now I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, we. There ain't a man on the panel that said, okay, he hasn't had a bad day. But that's where you make it up. When you do have a bad day, you have some real good ones too. There's been days where my significant other, we can't even look at each other because the night's been so wild. So I mean, it comes, but you as men, we got to keep that going because she gonna match your energy. There's been times I've walked in the house and I was like, shit, is it my birthday? I mean, woo! I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm not gonna put everything on there because I don't want to get you banned. I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Don't get yourself in trouble, King. Don't get yourself in trouble.
All right, Calvin, you can go ahead and dive in, bro.
On the previous topic, we talked about communication. So I think it's very important as women.
Hold on, real quick. I'll go ahead and mute up, bro. My man, an echo. All right, go ahead, bro.
On the previous topic, we talked about communication. So I think it's very important as women that you listen to a man, listen to what he likes. Don't bring into it what you had in the last relationship. Don't bring into it what you saw on pornos. Don't bring into it what you saw with your girlfriends. Listen to him. Listen to his body. Listen to what he likes and what he's into. You know, a lot of times they kind of have their own mind on what they want to do and how they're going to go about it. You know, so it's very important that you listen to a man, listen to his body, and be open to it. Be open to what he's into, you know, and initiate. And not only that, initiating it is so important that a woman initiates it, because men like to feel wanted too. Men like to feel like they want to feel sexy. They want to feel like, oh yeah, you want me, you know. So it's very important to not only listen to the man sexually, but also initiate it. A man don't always want to have to feel like they have to initiate sex. Yes, we're hunters. Yes, we like to go after it. I get it. But sometimes we like to feel like you coming after us too.
Yeah, I agree, man. And I think that, you know, a lot of times, man, especially in relationships, because women like really value the romance and the romantic stuff. Like we done heard it, like the romance starts in the morning and you got to wake up with the hand behind her back while she's brushing her teeth. And that's how you get it started. You got to get her in the mood starting from sometimes we just don't feel like doing that. We just don't.
Yeah.
And if the idea of sex with you, that's what comes to mind, eventually our urge is just going to just like, I don't feel like doing all of that. Sometimes we just want to get to it. We both got to get to work. You got to be there 7:45. I got to get there 7 o'clock. We ain't got time for all that extra, man. Let's get it in. Let's do what we do. Because again, in that relationship, it was a point to where that was cool.
Yeah.
Don't switch up on us now, baby. We need that consistency. Go ahead, Queen.
I call it closet time. Meet me in the closet, real quick. That's it. I'm married. I can talk like that. Who's next?
You know, I'll jump in towards something. Ladies, the thing I'll tell you about sex is work out, build your stamina, so you can get on top for more than 3 seconds. It's absolutely ridiculous. All the talk in the chat about men's stamina and you're losing it. No, y'all ain't got no stamina. We over there doing all the work. We giving y'all 74,000 or 7,400 pumps every 10 minutes. 7,400. You talking about men getting no. What I need you to do, ladies, is build up your damn stamina. When it comes to men losing testosterone, here's the truth of it. A man in his 20s, based on how he lives, can, if he doesn't drink and smoke and all that stuff, when he's in his 40s and 50s, he's only going to lose about 1%, 2% of testosterone. Okay, whatever that is. But the bottom line of it is, I'm in my 50s right now, and I will wait. Look, I just want you to understand now. I want you to understand. Every man don't lose it when he gets older. What he actually does is he refines his craft. I am a craftsman in the bedroom. Make no mistake about it. So, ladies, y'all just go work out so y'all can last longer than 2 seconds on top. That's my advice when it comes to sex. Oh, lazy lovers just laying there like a damn fish. You better move, woman.
Oh, clowning. Hold on. What are y'all drinking tonight? Because I'm on wine. What are y'all? Y'all are clowning. Gee, Garwin, you got to follow that one.
Hey, they basically took the words right out of my mouth. I mean, I want the same treatment that I was getting during the dating process, whether it's a minute to 5 minutes to an hour to an all-nighter. Give me the same effort 24/7. You know, I want to go out, come back home, lay in the bed. I want her to wake me up. You know, I don't want to have to wake her up. I want her to wake me up. You know, so yeah, I just the effort. You know, and hey, I'm in my 50s also, bro. That ain't nothing changed. That's like I'm 20 all over again. So yeah.
Real quick, man. I'm seeing a whole bunch of hate in the chat from these women in the chat. Mods, can y'all block them? I see a lot of hate. Mods, block them. Go ahead, Queen.
No, y'all are on a roll. I'm just gonna pass the mic to LJ. I'm not gonna stop this. Go ahead.
I need it all the time, anytime, anywhere. I mean, I'm a little younger than some of the folks on the ages I'm hearing here, so I'm ready to go at any time. One thing I would say though, for me, I'm a romantic, right? So, I like to wine and dine my woman. I like to make her feel special. I always like to keep that sensual vibe, that sensual energy. I mean, you look in the back, you see the lights, right? Girl, come over here. I'm changing the colors of the lights. I'm playing some R&B, maybe some of my music. I'm getting you in the vibe. So I'm gonna always keep you in that mood. But I want you to initiate too, right? I want you to be aggressive. I like, you being taking charge, being aggressive, and keeping that same energy when you were trying to get me when we started dating. So I keep it simple because all the guys hit on the other points, but yeah, that's what I like.
Warning, evacuation in progress. Leave.
Samson, what you add into the conversation when it comes to sex? If you could say anything, unfiltered truth, what are you sharing?
Well, Queen, I'll say this. A woman, when she comes across a pair of stilettos or a pair of shoes that she likes, she's going to get it in at least 3 different colors, right? A blouse that she likes, she's going to get at least 3 different colors. So it's evident that she likes variety. So she comes across a lover that she likes, she needs to have variety with that lover. So like LJ said, give her the romantic lover. Take a weekend getaway, give her the freak lover. That's why I think that traveling is truly the spice of life and relationships. The weekend getaways, the bed and breakfasts. You can't get away for a week or more. Can't stamp a passport. But when you do, those are awesome opportunities just to make sure that you're just laying into your woman, and vice versa. Role playing on top of that, I think, is a healthy addition to any type of escapade. Never stop dating her. Ladies, never stop dating him. Make sure you keep that spice. It's a 7-day week opportunity. Now, you may not get it all 7 days, but when the weekend hits or when the free time comes around, then make sure that you're representing. Put your last name in it. So it's. I think a woman wants to be surprised. So, when you first started dating, you're showing up at the office on lunch break. You're taking advantage of, like you said, closet time. You don't have to do too much thinking. You just got to show up. And when you role play, when you're flirting, when you're smelling good, when you're still flirtatious, it's going to work. And I think it's going to go a long way to keeping the relationship sugary.
I think the wolves agree. Y'all, we're silly on this channel. We have a good time. That was great. I think there's mixed reviews in the chat. The women disagree, the men agree when it comes to sex. But this is a side of men. This is like feedback we don't get, because I feel like women are great debaters, not necessarily great communicators. And it's a very sensitive subject when you tell her, you got to tighten up in this area. So I appreciate the candid feedback. When it comes to submission, I've had people email me, inbox me, DM me. They want y'all to talk about submission. Why is submission such a huge deal right now amongst men? Why are y'all pressing for women to be submissive? And if you could give the unfiltered truth, it is what it is, lady, when it comes to submission, what would you say, Calvin?
That's a good question. When you're dealing with a man, like a real man and a king, he knows his role. He knows who he is as a person. He knows who he is and what God made him to be. So when you have I'm not gonna say every woman is like this, but you have this modern day women that always feels like we're doing this, and sometimes that just becomes exhausting. That becomes too much in the relationship. And, as men, we like that submission. We like the fact that, you can be submissive in everything sexually, and all of that. But let me say this. It's also very important as men that that women can trust us, that we could put them in a safe space to feel like they can be submissive. So we can't go out there and ask for something that a woman can't follow or can't, look at us and say, I can submit to that man. So if you want a woman to submit, as a man, you have to be that man, so that's kind of what I say about that.
How you be that man?
Consistency, being determined, following through, not just saying it, being able to be determined on what you're doing. A woman sees all of that, and a woman doesn't mind following that. She doesn't mind being submissive to that, but she has to see that in you. She has to know that you have those qualities, you have those traits, you have those values. And when she sees that in you, then she can follow that. Then she could be submissive. But if she see that you're inconsistent, if she see that you're not following through on the things that you're doing in your life, it's hard to follow that. It's hard to be submissive to that.
For me, before I pass the mic to Trill, I need to feel that. I need to feel that without you saying a word. You don't have to verbally correct me. You can look at me. Yes, you can turn your head that way, and not in an aggressive way. I need to feel that, and then I know that. Trill.
I think the issue men have with women not wanting to submit is that it's a direct indictment on our leadership. And it's no worse feeling for a man in the world than feeling like his woman doesn't have faith that he can lead us in the right direction or get us to the destination that we're trying to get to. A woman that just with no faith in us at all, that's like crippling. You don't feel like a man. You feel like you're walking around and it's just aimless or whatever the case may be. But submission is important, man, because at the end of the day, like, have you ever tried to drive and somebody in the passenger seat is steadily reaching for the steering wheel and trying to turn it? Same thing in a relationship. There can only be one driver. Now you can sit in the passenger seat and you can counsel me. Hey, baby, I think you might want to look at this exit. Or hey, baby, I think I know a shorter way to get there. You might want to. But a lot of women, metaphorically speaking, don't do that per se. They are so used to driving the car themselves that they'll just reach for it out of instinct. And now that's, again, as a man, how do we perceive that? We perceive that as you don't believe that I know what the hell I'm doing. And my role in this situation is supposed to be leading it. So I think that's the issue that men have with it, especially accomplished men. Like, because, again, I tell women all the time, right? Judge men based on their resume. So if I come into the situation and my resume is solid, like that, like when you question my leadership or when you question my judgment, and again, it's a difference between counsel and questioning. Questioning means that I have doubts that you can get it done. Counseling means, hey, baby, I know you can get it done your way, but this might work a little faster. Those are two different things. So when you question my leadership, and I come in as accomplished as I may come in, then again, it's gonna make me lose interest, and it's gonna make me go again express that in very unproductive ways. So to avoid that, ladies, pick a man that you don't have a problem submitting to, because I think all of that is in reality is that's a lack of confidence and a lack of belief in your own decision making when you won't submit to your man. Speaks volumes about the choice you made.
Mm-hmm.
You vetted him. You dated him. You had sex with him. You picked this man, and you have a problem submitting to him. I think that speaks volumes to your confidence and your decision making if you would not allow him to lead. So that's the issue.
Okay, that's deep. I wanted to ask another question, but I'll go to Al. I'll come back.
I believe every woman will submit after men pass these tests that y'all put us through. She has to see security. She has to see stability. It's just traits that she has to see in a man before she'll let that vulnerability and that her guards down. Because as now I'm saying African American women, they have a big wall up. So a lot of things is that she has to see, and y'all will put us through a test, and I mean verbally, physically, mentally, everything. When she sees that, okay, I know I can rely on him through thick and thin, and he says what he means and he does what he says, then I don't believe there's a woman on this earth that won't submit to that. That's just my opinion.
I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you make a lot of sense. I'm gonna roll with that, Al. Samson.
I think all the ladies want all 5 love languages. Some more than others. But once they feel a sense of security that they're getting what they need, or they're hearing the words of affirmation, where they're getting the quality time, where they're seeing that their man are serving them, and the touch is there. I think once they get all 5 love languages being tapped, some greater than others, once again, I think the walls will fall. You don't need to say submit. I think the word submission and submit is so derogatory nowadays, where if it's introduced to a conversation or in a relationship, it's less likely to graduate to that point. So let's not use those terms. And just give her the love that she needs to become secure enough in herself to be comfortable with you as that leader, and she'll follow. She'll let you lead. And I think it's a beautiful thing. It's not very hard to do, her what she needs, because a woman will tell you exactly what she needs. If the compatibility is there and the chemistry is unfolding, then tap those love languages and you got a nice rodeo in front of you.
I agree with you. I don't think women are necessarily easy people to deal with. I talk to women every day. I have women friends. They call me for advice. And I'm like, I just told you 3 months ago what to fucking do. And you calling me again? Like, baby, you create your own crazy. Does that make sense when you create your own crazy? And I'm not saying, sometimes I'm like, damn, are we still on this? So I agree. LJ.
Yeah, I think all women will submit at some point. May not be with the man that they're with now, but another man. I feel like it's on the guy to make that woman feel safe, create an environment where she could trust you, create an environment where she sees that you're a great leader, and that you could put her in positions to accomplish things that she wants as a woman. I think once you have those types of things in that space, in that relationship, then the woman would easily submit. That's my belief.
But on the flip side, I challenge the men to step up because a lot of men are mama's boys. Y'all, come on. Y'all know I'm an equal opportunity offender. If you see me on the cruise season every Wednesday night, tune in.
I agree with what you're saying. All men aren't built equally, right? All men aren't the same. There's gonna be some boys that have not matured or learned certain things in life as yet to be able to be that leader or to be able to create those spaces for their women to submit, right? And that's true. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But again, once she finds the right man to provide those things, I think she'll submit.
Yeah. And it sounds good. I hope it works. Arwen, what are your thoughts?
I'll say this, the whole submission part is kind of tricky for me. I was in a relationship that went to the next level, and during the relationship piece and the dating, the person was, submissive. She submitted, but once we got married, it totally flipped. Totally flipped. So I'm at an impasse in that right now. So I'm gonna pass to the next man on that subject.
Hold on. We're gonna come back. Hold on, King, because this is what men need to hear and women need to hear.
All right.
So she was a great baiter. That's when you put a worm on a hook.
Yeah.
I'm gonna fish.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna put a big piece of shrimp, a prawn, a lobster, whatever, and I got you hook, line, and sink, and I'm gonna reel your ass in.
Yeah.
Surprise! Mask off.
Yep. That's basically what it.
Completely off guard.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole dynamics changed on her whole submission. It just changed.
Was she beautiful?
Very.
Okay. We're gonna let that linger. Jeffrey?
Well, one thing about submission that's gotten kind of lost is submission is something that's reserved for your husband, not for your boyfriend or your boo thing or the guy you're kicking it with. And there are some men who are not husbands who are asking for submission. That's a side note because, marriage now has been kind of, dropped down on the level of importance. I really believe that the main thing for a man to win submission or earn submission from a woman is to have your stuff together. There is nothing that replaces a man having his stuff together. I mean, being able to lead yourself, first of all, being able to manage your own household, second of all, being able to carry yourself in a way that people can look at you and tell that you got your stuff together. So when a woman meets you and she already has her stuff together, that's not even an issue. That's not even something that has to be discussed on. It's a touch point, but it's not a discussion point. You know the difference between a touch point and the discussion point. A touch point, you just got to touch on it to make sure everything is cool. But a discussion point is a long conversation. You should not have to have a long conversation around you having your stuff together as a man. So being consistent, that's great. Having good character, that's necessary. Having your stuff together is critical because it encompasses all of that. And when a man does that, that partnership, that fellowship, that likelihood that submission is something you'll be gifted is increased. That's all I got on it.
No, that's enough. That's enough, and that's very relevant. And that takes me to the next question. If all of that is true, if all of that is what all of you men really need, think about this. Then why y'all cheating? Don't answer that yet. Let me get to these people that are showing up. Angel Born Archer, I give each of you your roses, especially you, Queen Sheba. This is so needed in Black love. So they're really appreciating the conversation. We have Devoted 7 Gaming. He's shouting out to the crew season. We have Lizzie Glam, thought-provoking discussions. Great questions, Queen. We also have Miss Parker. This is grown folks talk. Yes, like y'all are really showing up. And we have it Keep It Funky. Sorry, sister, no problems. No worries, brother. Salute. All right. So if all of this is true, and if what you say is true, and if that's all you need to be in sync, and that's the remedy, that's the recipe to love, to success, to families, why y'all out here cheating? Calvin.
I hear that a lot about, men being the cheaters. But I find that in this day and age, it's more women out here cheating than there is men. you know. And then sometimes we look at things from an outside perspective and think everything is together with that woman, right? Like you know, someone else or her girlfriends would be like, oh yeah, she's this and she's great and she's this and that. But it's not that when you're dealing with her. Sometimes it's chaos. Sometimes it's something totally different. So the woman could say, well, I'm doing all of this, I'm doing all of that, and he cheated. But maybe she isn't doing all of that. You know, and maybe there is something deeper than that. And I'm not condoning cheating. I'm not saying that, you know, but a lot of times, as you mentioned, Queen, that she has it all together. But that could be somebody else's perception on it. That may not be the case on it. And then also, what a man requires is maybe different than what you're giving him. You know, it's like what we talk about with the 5 love languages, right? Your number 1 may be his number 5. So don't give him that and think he's going to be satisfied with that. You know, so a lot of times, again, I hear all these men cheating, but boy, it's flipped.
Have you cheated before, Calvin?
You had to go there?
Yeah. Don't play with me.
Yes. When I was in my 20s, I cheated. Yes.
All right. Why'd you cheat?
I cheated because I was with somebody I was with for a long period of time, and it dried up. And then I met someone else that I felt like was going to bring me to the next level. To be honest, you know, and I wasn't mentally mature enough to walk away from this to walk to the next one.
You were trying to go to the next level like Mario Brothers.
Facts.
All right. I'm going to pass the mic to Trill.
Okay. Why do men cheat?
Yeah. So cheating, if all of what you say is true, if she does this, she understands communication, sex, attraction, listening, why y'all still out here cheating?
I think it's I don't know. I think it's more of a attention thing, because just like bro just said, you know, a lot of women will feel like, because I hear women say this all the time, and they'll say it kind of like you just said it. Oh, I was doing everything for my man. I was doing this. I was doing that. I was doing this. I was doing that. And then I'll think to myself, okay, yeah, that may be your idea of doing everything for him, but what is his idea of doing everything for him? Those two may be 2 totally different things. So you may be giving 110% effort toward the relationship, right? But it's in the wrong direction. Baby, I'm going west, you going north. What good is your 110% effort if it's not in line with what it is that I want? I think a lot of women don't necessarily pay attention to what they man want. And again, I'm not validating cheating, because you should always leave, right? Even though y'all don't make that process easy either. But that's another conversation for another day. What I'm saying is this, right? Is that you have to listen to your man, and it goes back to what I said earlier about listen and implementing what it is that he's, you know, requesting of you in a relationship. Because for one, we don't request much. We just gonna be honest here. Like, women got 95% of the holidays. Y'all getting gifts. Y'all getting random trips. Christmas, Mother's Day, birthday, Father's Day. I'm seeing women getting celebrated. Like, y'all get 95% of the holiday. Like, y'all are widely celebrated, right? But even though y'all even try to take over our days, your demand birthday, and you trying to plan it for him. What if he just want to go hang with the guys? Now you got an attitude, because you trying to monopolize his birthday too. So again, I say all that to say, men don't ask for much. So when we ask for something, do it in the way in which he asked, not in the way in which you think is best. So I think that oftentimes contributes to a man just getting tired of trying to beat it into your head that what I want is this, and you're either deflecting, making excuses as to why you can't give it to me, or just blatantly not giving it to me because you feel like I need something different. But Keisha down the street, you know what she's not doing? When we tell her what it is that we need from her, she's not telling us what she thinks we need. She's just giving us what we say we want. So, you know, to if we're gonna be frank here, This may ruffle some feathers. I think a lot of y'all can learn from these side chicks that y'all hate so much.
Oh,
Please just get out of my face.
So just to answer, and again in a more simple way, because like I said, man, none of this is validating cheating, right? I would never stand on mountaintop and say, no, he should have cheated on you. But these are some of the things that may contribute or may aid him in the process of expressing himself in unproductive ways.
it's funny you say that. Many years ago, I cannot think of the brother that wrote the book. He says, men don't heal, they hoe. Men don't heal, they hoe. Look it up on Amazon. And you know what? It's funny how you'll do a good work and it sits idle, and years and years and years later, somebody brings it up and it goes viral. So I hope he gets a lot of business. I cannot remember his name. He says, men don't heal, they hoe. And he talks about why men cheat. And he says, hoes have no choice but to take off their clothes. Al. So Trill, that's my punch back to you. Hoes have no choice.
Well, first of all, men, as men, I can only speak for men. We really don't know what we want until we're about 30 or 35. We're hunter-gatherers. So anytime y'all mess with us before then, you're messing with a dysfunctional human being. We are not seasoned until we get to about 30, 35. I have a 25-year-old son. I tell him, go out, enjoy the world, do what you want to do. Don't get married till you about 30 to 35, because then you know what you want, you know what woman you want to be with, and you've got all the bullshit out your system. If that answers your question.
It's good enough for me. And I will pass the mic to LJ.
Black men don't cheat. But if they do, but if they do, I would say there's a few reasons, and I think some of the brothers already touched on this. Right, goes back to communication, understanding what this man wants, right? Because you, as a woman, could feel like you're giving him everything he wants because the communication isn't there. You're looking at it from your side, but are you truly listening to what he wants, what satisfies him, right? I think that's one reason. Another reason is going back to the sex. When we just started dating, we were getting it in everywhere, right? Hotels, rooftops, clubs, wherever. Now that you've gotten comfortable, I'm still getting the other things from you. But what about the sex, right? That has faded away. So now, like my brother said, Keisha down the road, I mean, she's giving it up and she's doing a great job here. She's giving me that excitement that we once had. Those could be some reasons. Again, I don't condone cheating. Black men don't cheat. I still stick to that. But if I had to think about some of the things that would cause a man to cheat, then those would be them.
All right. Okay, I'm looking at you sideways. I'm gonna come back to you, Samson. I'm gonna go to Garwin, and then I'm gonna come back to you, Garwin.
I would say if a man cheats, I mean, I was a past cheater in my younger days. So, and it was a numbers game back then. But as I've gotten older, most definitely haven't been down that path. But I can say cheating is most definitely it's the physical thing for a man. I mean, if my wife or girlfriend or whatever, if I were to cheat, if she's not keeping it 100 all the way around, especially on the physical part, then I may be more likely to do something, to cheat. Because with me it's physical, 100%. I can't hear.
I call Cap, but go ahead.
You call what?
Cap.
Why's that?
That was a car alarm.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
So that's just me. I mean, I call it that way. I mean, I'm not that person anymore. But if it were to happen, you know, it wouldn't be a mental cheat at all. It would be a physical.
So I'm
because
gonna
like they said, the girl down the street is doing everything you want, and ain't no headaches, ain't nothing with it at all. It's
Have
straight
you ever
smash
been a
and
headache?
dash. What's that?
Have you ever been a headache?
Oh, I'm pretty sure I have.
Hmm.
I'm pretty sure I have. I mean, everyone has.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeffrey.
Great question. Well, when you really look at it, women cheat better than men. Y'all cheat in layers. Y'all got different levels and stages of cheating. Here's what I mean. You'll have a good guy and say, "Oh, he treats me so good, but he's just a little small in the give me some way." I got, girl, not anybody in the group now, not anybody in the chat, not anybody watching, but y'all know a girl in your circle who has a good dude and been cheating on him left and right, and she's good at it. The men that cheat who are not good at it represent a minority who gets treated like the majority. I'm telling you now, I'm telling you. Most of us would rather sit and suffer with you than cheat on you. That's why you don't see men divorcing women at the rate that women divorce men. Women get dissatisfied, boom, divorce. Men get dissatisfied, we come on, sit down, and just get quiet. So I'll submit respectfully that yeah, men cheat sometimes because we're just dissatisfied. We want the physical, this, that, and the other. I agree with all that. At the end of the day, women are better cheaters and cheat at a higher clip. Y'all just cover it up better than we do.
Wow.
That's all I got on that.
Wow.
See, man, the thing is, bro, and I used to think that. I did. And then I thought about the fact that women cheat so well because we don't play defense like they do. It's just like us going to the park pickup game. We playing one-on-one or something. Like if I'm playing against a 7-year-old, I'm a little like Michael Jordan on the court, but that's because he's just not playing defense, right? I think in our case, like women play defense. That's why it's so hard for us to cheat. Women will put trackers in your car. Women going through your phone while you sleep. Women logging into your Google Maps to check, make sure that you went to the destination you're supposed to went to. Women sending homegirls out to go by the spot that you said you was going to make sure that you there. Like women play defense. But men, we don't play defense. We let our ego get in the way of playing defense. So we feel like, man, she'll never do that shit. Like I'm me. So that right there aids her or makes it look like she's just that great of a cheater. But I think if we was to really like narrow down, like start playing as much defense as they do, we'll find out that they ain't really that good at cheating. I think, and then one more aspect to it is I think the men that they cheating with are perfectly happy in their position. So they way less likely to blow it up, right? Because I done been that dude. And that is a great spot to be in, right? You literally get all of the best things from this woman, and you get to send a headache back home to her man when she try to argue or when she dissatisfied. Whoa, baby, that's not our thing, right? As I'm putting on my clothes and zipping my zip up, go talk to your man about that. I don't want to hear about your hardships of your day. I don't want to hear that's not what we do, sweetheart. So you literally get to get all of the great things about her and then just send the bullshit back to a man. So that is a great place to be in comparison to the woman who more times than not, if she cheating with a dude, she want the spot. You just not giving it to her. You know what I'm saying? So that's why they more likely to come out and expose you or whatever. Oh, he told me he was leaving her or he made me feel like that. Men not doing, or most men are not doing that. So I think, again, the game is just rigged to make it look, well, it's rigged and then we aid in it because we don't play defense to make it look like they just that good at cheaters. I don't really believe that they are, bro, if I'm gonna be honest.
Wow.
Great point. Great point. Counterpoint. When you think about the men who are out there cheating, we ain't cheating by ourselves. We out there cheating with women who are most likely in relationships because they look at us the same way. This is a convenience. I get to get the best of him and send him back home to his wife. Sign me up for it. So I submit respectfully, the level of cheating that's out there isn't men 90, women 10. It's like 50-40. It's really, really close. And I only say it's 40 because women are good. Women really at 60. But y'all covered that 20% up so well. I know if I call one of the ladies, not any lady in the panel, but if I call a lady up that I'm dating and I call her girlfriend and say, "You seen Keisha?" "Yeah, me and Keisha was just at the club." Y'all cover for yourselves because y'all lie in layers. You got that circle around you that will protect you that we don't have in the same way. Now, I didn't say we didn't have it. I say we don't have it in the same way. So, ladies, you're insulated by your circle of lies because of the way y'all network with each other. That's why I say that women are better at it than men are because they exploit their network better than we do. That's where the proof is to Sousa.
I think it depends on the level of the woman. But with that being said, I'm going to pass. Samson, did you go? I'm going to pass the mic to Sam.
Hey, why do men cheat? Missing something within that relationship and not knowing how to communicate that it should end, and they just want the best of both worlds, right? But I just think that there's so many people, guys and girls that are out there now that just want compatibility. There's no reason to cheat. You can just have what you want. There's women out there that are sexual with multiple men. Just choose one of them. But there's no reason to just cheat, especially if you're in your 30s and 40s. There's no reason to cheat, period, regardless of what age. But when you become a man, when you're in your late 20s and you're going into your 30s, I just think that effective communication, once again, you can just tell a woman, this is what I want in life right now. I'm not trying to commit to just one thing or one person. I want some experiences. And trust me, there's hundreds, if not thousands, that are in your general area, AOR, area of responsibility, that you can entertain and satisfy those needs. Some people are just lazy and don't want to have that easy conversation to say, hey, this is not for me. Yeah, I'll keep it short.
No, that's real. I think women lie based on the conversations I have with women behind the scenes. I'm like, say that shit. Tell him that shit when he gets home. Tell him. No, I said it. No, you didn't say it the way I'm telling you to say it. Say it. And say it that way and pause and let him respond to it. And don't fill in the gaps for him. And then, based on what he says, you will know how you need to move. A lot of women are afraid of the outcome. I'll tell you that now. So, based on the outcome, they don't want to know. And harass you, if that makes any sense. I'm against harassment. I'm all for grown woman shit. I'm all for it. I'm like, go for the jugular. If this is important to you in this relationship, say it. Because men value direct communication, in my opinion, based on my observation, based on my experience as a married woman. Say it. Don't play with it. Say it. And a lot of women are reluctant to say it because they don't want to hurt your feelings. But they're going to punish you for hurting their feelings. Does that make sense? Al.
I don't necessarily think women are better cheaters. I believe men, we reach a point where we don't care. Cheating is like the last step to, I don't give a damn, really. Like, if I get caught, I get caught. If I don't, I'm really tired of this relationship. Women, y'all are more invested. Y'all are emotionally more invested. So y'all trying to keep everything no matter what. So y'all go far and beyond to try to even keep that relationship. Versus we reach a point where when men start cheating, that's the end. They're really looking for a way out of that relationship. That's just my input on it.
Then why do men abuse and kill women when they cheat?
I mean, you have some people have mental issues. I mean, that's just, no matter what culture you're in, people have mental issues. Some people can't walk away from, I mean, then again, you can have girly men. She could have been the stability behind the relationship. She could have been the breadwinner. Dudes lose it. Some men can't handle another man having that woman. I mean, it could be a lot of things, but
That's a good point. Anybody want to push back or add on to what you said?
Yeah, I think that the stakes are higher when a woman cheats, so y'all kind of have to be a bit more careful. What I mean by stakes are higher, meaning the likelihood of us leaving if we find out is 10 times higher than the other way around. I think men feel like that. We walk around like that, and that causes us to be sloppy because it's like, yeah, I mean, I ain't gonna make it easy for her, right? But if she does catch me, what's the likelihood of her actually leaving? And that made me a messed up thing to say out loud, but that's reality. More times than not, and I'm sure all men on this panel can speak to it in their experience. When we mess up, we get more chances than women get. Men, because our ego is so crazy. And that's not saying that men don't take cheating women back, but I'm saying it's way less likely to happen than the other way around because of how our ego is set up. And if we do take you back, we're gonna make your life a living hell. And what I mean by that is he's gonna go on a sniping spree. Like the cost of you getting back is gonna be a price that I'm not sure you're willing to pay. So I think like men walk around with that, and that causes men to move a bit more sloppy compared to women. They gotta, cross T's and dot I's, because if that man find out, it's a hell of a chance that baby, that the relationship is gonna end right there on the spot. So
that's deep. I don't necessarily agree with it or disagree with it. Calvin, how would a woman even know that you're into her so that she doesn't cheat? How would she even know that she's the number one draft pick?
When a man, it's funny, it says it in the Bible, right? When a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing, right? So, when a man is into you, he's into you. He will pour into you. He will do all of the things, the necessary steps that it takes to let you know that you're the one. As men, especially when you're at a certain age and a certain stage of your life, you don't really play around for the most part, right? And that isn't really just age, that's just your mentality. When you find it and you're looking for that thing that you're looking for, you really pour into that. And you will tell by the way he operates, his energy around you, how he speaks to you, how he courts you, how he takes you around his friends, wanting to share experience with you, with the family. When men really find that one that they really like, it's like going in a department store and seeing that outfit, right? Like, you don't know what you're looking for, but when you find it, you're like, that's it. That's the one I want, and it just fits right what you're looking for. It's the only size, it's your size. It was the only one on that rack, and you're like, that is the thing that I'm looking for. So you can just tell by the way he moves around you and the energy. When a man finds that one, he finds that good thing.
Queen, you muted.
Jeffrey, how would a woman even know that she can place aside the roster? You're for her. She doesn't have to entertain nobody else.
Well, I'll make it abundantly clear with my words, deeds, and actions. That's the primary thing right there. She'll be able to tell that the way that I move things to accommodate her, um, and the level that I carry myself with her makes it clear. Um, Transparency as well. That's one thing that's just absolutely critical. If I'm asked a question, not a problem. Here's the answer. Or if it's something that I feel like you should know before getting to know me, hey, look, this is something. I snore as an example, and I snore really, really loud. That's something I'm gonna tell you up front because you're gonna have to make a decision as to whether or not you even want to sleep in the same bed with me. That's how bad my snoring can be. So things that a woman deserves to know up front before things get serious, those things are put out on the table, and they're put out on the table so she can make an informed decision. And I believe that given um, the type of man that I am, she'll make the right decision.
Love it. Garwin, I'm going to skip you real quick and go to LJ and come back to Garwin. LJ.
Yeah, I mean, being intentional with that woman, communicating to her how you feel about her, showing her things, like whether it's trips, like Calvin mentioned, taking her around your friends, like showing that you're invested in her. I think making her feel special are all ways to show that woman that you're serious about her, right? Making her feel like she's a prize, just doing different things like that and keeping it so that she doesn't have to second guess, right? I think all of those things help with keeping your household secure, and keeping that woman feeling like, yeah, this guy is really into me. So those are, I would say, some of the things to make sure that that's happening.
That's real, King. Thank you. Back to Garwin.
I'll say just depending on the priority, if I'm making her a priority over a lot of things I was doing during our beginning of our dating process, then she's moving, she's becoming the one, all the way around. So she has to realize that. I mean,
that was short and sweet. That's nice. All right, I got it. And Samson, did we get you? Or is it Al's turn? Samson?
I think she'll know when I know, right? I think it's kind of a mutual type of sentiment when things are aligned and energy what is there. And in my culture, the way I was brought up, if she's meeting family, then she knows. And but as it relates to my own experiences with her prior to family, it's how we're praying together. If she's truly in my prayers when I'm talking to God, how I'm showing her as an extension of myself in public, how she feels like we truly are one before the I do. I think beyond the words of affirmation, which a lot of women need, it's truly the actions that speak louder, right? I think was it Jeff that said it? My father's faith is Zoroastrianism, Zoroastrian, Zoroastrian, monotheistic, but it's good thoughts, good words, good deeds. And when you have a healthy balance of thoughts, words, and deeds with her, and she sees it, her friendship network sees it, her colleagues see it, her family sees it, and then doing that, with God daily, that consistency is proof in the pudding. So I think that's where.
Oh, that's real. And we're going to wrap it up. So really quick, guys, at the end of the day, based on everybody that's tuned in, if you could say the truth of the matter is, period, unfiltered, here's what women need to know, what would you say? Hold on. Take a second. The truth of the matter is, ladies, fill in the blank. Trill.
Truth of the matter is, a man's true interest in you lies with how much he's willing to move around to make room for you. Women got to learn the difference between a man that's dealing with you in my convenience compared to me moving important things around to make time for you. Those are two totally different things. And I think a lot of women misconstrue that. You know, I tell women all the time, right? They'll like come to me for advice about a guy, whatever. Oh, he's inconsistent. He's this, he's that, he this, he that. And I say, well, is he inconsistent, or are you just trying to force something that's just not there? And they'll be like, well, what do you mean? Well, I say, okay, well, in y'all last 10 text message conversations, how many did he initiate? Don't tell me how many he responded to. How many did he initiate? And I'd be like, well, damn, I initiated most of them. The phone calls that y'all speak on the phone weekly, right? How many times does he call you in the middle of the day? Not late at night, not 3 a.m. after I get done with the club, or after after my old lady fall asleep and I call you. Not that, like during the day. Well, he doesn't really call me much. I'm typically the one to call him. So again, when you step outside of the box and you get to analyzing this shit, and you'll realize, well, damn, he's dealing with me when it's convenient for him to. So I think once women learn the difference between that, a man dealing with you out of convenience, and a man that's willing to move shit around to make room for you, then they'll be a lot better off. But they got to be honest with the assessment when they make it, and stop looking at it with rose-colored glasses. So that's what I would tell them. That's what I would tell them, man. The truth of the matter is, a man's true interest in you lies in how much is he willing to move around to make room for you.
You're on mute. You're on mute, Queen. Your mic is mute, Queen.
Hold on, Queen. You muted.
Damn, that's a rookie move. My bad. Al. I'm going to put you up next. Say, love your baby. So you're next, King.
Now the question is, one more time. The question is, one more time.
Like if you had to address women, right? If you had to give a summation and tell women, hey, the truth of the matter is this, blank, what would it be? You could pick anything.
Just listen, and we are not your enemy. That is the only two things I can think about.
That's real. Samson.
Allow us to love you the best way we know how, and avoid the healthy discussions that you think are coming from friends that mean well. Avoid the unhealthy discussions that are coming from friends that mean well just because they've been around you in your circle for a long time. If you truly invested in him, you see promise in him, and he's celebrating you, and he's a champion for you in your future, then pray on it and work on it. It's like everything in life. You need to put a little bit of work ethic in it and some elbow grease in it, and allow the rest just to let nature take its course. That's what I would say. Thank you.
We receive it. Thank you. OJ.
Yeah, truth of the matter is, all a man needs is peace, good sex, mental support, to be in a mental space to go there and lead, to continue to provide for you, and put you in positions to continue to win. Very simple for me.
I love it. Simple, to the point, exact. Garwin.
I would say make sure that you understand our love languages, because they may not be the same as yours, and accept our love languages just as we accept yours.
Just in case you got an X in the chat, Garwin, what's your love language?
Excuse me? Are you telling me I have an X in the chat? Hold on.
Queen slick, man. You gotta watch her, man. She's
People
slick.
see things on social media and they click in. Just in case you have an X in the chat and she missed your love language, what is it?
Oh well, my number one is it changes, but it's quality time. And with
All
quality time, physical touch, words of affirmation, acts of service, and my last one is gifts. I'm not a big gift receiver.
We'll take it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Jeffrey.
The main thing, ladies, I need you to understand that you do not have the power to allow a man to be a man. He either is a man or he isn't a man. And if you're dating a man that you have to allow to be a man, he might not be the man for you. First thing. Second thing, women, you need to understand that you are no longer the prize in the relationship. A healthy, balanced, functional relationship is the prize in the relationship. Please understand the relationship isn't all about you. Your man should be focusing on how to make the relationship good for you, and you should be focusing on how to make the relationship good for him. The minute that either one of you take the focus off the other one, you're being self-centered. That's not what a relationship is about. That's Jeffrey. That's all I got.
Hey, you made some very valuable points that hit home. Listen, y'all showed up and showed the hell out tonight. I have nothing but gratitude and thanks. Chat, please show these men some love, because this is shit that you would normally have to pay for to hear each and every one of them. They each have their own realm of expertise, but they came on to do their thing and share. So I really appreciate each and every one of you. And with that being said, I know the Astros game is on and these men are missing sports just to show up for you. So I really appreciate all of you. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. It's been an excellent conversation. I've learned a lot. I'm going to put it into play, and I hope everybody in the chat plans on doing the same. With that being said, I'm going to close us out. Men, anything else? If not, I will wrap up. All right. Thank you all.